It's been a long day, maybe even a long season. You done your best given your energy, your time, your heart, and now there's nothing left to give. You're tired in a way that goes deeper than the body. It's the kind of tired that settles in the soul. And yet, even in this weariness, there is a whisper, a gentle voice calling through the quiet, saying, "Come home," not to a place of walls and doors, but to the heart of God Himself. He's waiting for you there, arms open, light spilling from His presence like the warmth of a fire on a cold night. You don't have to explain your exhaustion. You don't have to pretend you're okay. He already knows. He sees the weight you carry, the things you never say out loud, the quiet ache behind your smile, and still, He calls softly, "Come home." This is not a demand. It's an invitation to return, to rest, to remember that you belong. You were never meant to walk alone or carry the burden of every day on your own shoulders. God has always been your refuge, your resting place. He longs for you to stop striving and simply fall into His care. So right now, take a slow breath. Let it fill your lungs. Let it remind you that you're still here, that you're still held. As you exhale, imagine releasing all the things you've been carrying, the deadlines, the disappointments, the things you wish you could fix. Let them fall away. You don't need them where you're going. You're going home into peace, into grace, into the arms of the one who calls you beloved. Picture yourself walking along a quiet path at dusk. The road is soft beneath your feet, lined with trees swaying gently in the evening breeze. Up ahead, there's a warm light glowing from a small house, the kind of light that feels like welcome. You walk toward it. The closer you get, the lighter you feel. The door opens, and there He is, your Father, smiling, arms open wide. He doesn't ask where you've been. He doesn't mention the weight you carried. He simply gathers you close and whispers, "Rest now. My child, you're home." Feel the warmth of that embrace. Feel the love that asks for nothing, that forgives everything, that heals quietly without words. Let that love fill the weary spaces of your soul. You've come home. You can rest now. You can sleep without fear. You are safe in His care, surrounded by peace that no darkness can touch. And as you settle into this sacred rest, let gratitude rise softly from your heart. Thank you, Lord, for welcoming me home. If this moment has brought you peace, take a second to share it, subscribe, leave a kind word, or invite someone else who needs to hear this same gentle call. Together, we create a haven where weary souls remember there's always a way home in the heart of God. Sleep deeply tonight and rest in His love. I invite you to settle in. Find a place that feels safe. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Let the breath slow. I speak softly. My voice comes like a warm lamp in a quiet room. Tonight begins a gentle journey. The aim is rest. The aim is peace. The aim is a soft welcome into the mercy of Christ. I read the Bible for you before sleep. Each night I turned pages slowly. Each night I let the words breathe. Each night I let the heart listen. Close the eyes if that helps. Keep them open if that feels better. Either way, let the world outside the door dim. Allow the small, steady sounds of the room to be a companion. A blanket, a cup of warm tea, the hush of evening, anything that feels like care is enough. I hold nothing up as a rule. I only offer a space to come as you are. With whatever weight you carry, bring an open heart. That small readiness matters more than perfect faith, clearer thought, or complete answers. An open heart is like a window left ajar for grace to find its way in. Rest comes not from forcing peace, but from leaning into presence. I invite attention to the breath. Notice it without changing it. Feel the rise and fall. Feel the gentle rhythm. With every exhale, let a little tension leave the body. With every inhale, imagine a soft light coming in. The light is not harsh. It is steady and kind. Imagine it resting at the chest, settling the shoulders, untangling worry, making room. I will read passages that carry comfort. I choose words that care for the tired and the wandering. I avoid heavy argument. I avoid sharp edges. The aim is assurance, mercy, hope. I read from the Bible as a friend reads a letter of love. The words are older than any of us. They travel through time and touch the present. They speak of shelter, of rest, of being held. They whisper of a presence near in the night. As I read, you do not need to solve anything. You do not need to fix your thoughts or your past. You do not need to have explanations ready. Listen like you would listen to rainfall on a roof. Receive like a cup set under a gentle stream. The words offer calm before they offer meaning. Let that be enough for now. If your mind wanders, that is natural. Gently bring it back. No shame, no striving. Each return is a small act of care. If sleep comes, that is welcome. If sleep does not come, staying in the quiet is still rest. Presence is a balm whether the eyes close or stay open. I stay with you either way. In the soft hush, I often pause. I breathe with you. I let the silence hold the words. Silence is not empty. It is full of care. It gathers what the voice has given. It makes room for what must settle. Between each sentence, feel the space like a small harbor. Let the harbor steady the waves. Tonight, and through these evenings ahead, I offer short readings and brief reflections. They are small lamps, simple and steady. Each piece is meant to be gentle enough to carry you towards sleep. Each message points to mercy and hope found in Christ. I avoid debate. I avoid questions that trouble the heart. Instead, I place the hand of assurance on the pulse of the night. If you find benefit here, you can let others know. If that feels right, subscribe so these evenings come to you. A gentle note from you helps this quiet reach more rooms. A comment tells me what rests with you and what does not. A share passes this stillness along to someone who needs it tonight. None of this is required. It is simply a way to widen the circle of calm. I keep the language simple. I keep the pace slow. Words move like ripples on water. I choose short sentences that rest easy in the ear. The voice stays steady. The aim is not to teach like a lecture. The aim is to be with you like a companion on a slow walk at dusk. Sometimes I invite a small prayer of opening. It is only a few words. It is a turning of the heart toward mercy. It is a quiet offering, not a demand. If prayer feels right for you, breathe with the sentiment. If it does not, carry on, simply listening. The presence offered never hinges on saying anything perfect. It rests on the simple willingness to be near throughout these nights. The Bible will be the steady place we visit. I read mostly from sections that soothe the soul, stories of tenderness, promises of care, gentle reminders that we are not alone when names or long narratives arise. I linger on the parts that invite rest. The reading is slow enough for the mind to settle into each phrase. The pause between lines lets the heart catch up. Allow the body to soften further. Unclench the jaw. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Soften the forehead. Let the legs go heavy. When the body eases, the mind finds a kinder rhythm. The night becomes a teacher of simplicity. It asks nothing but presence. That is the most faithful thing you can offer right now. I speak of Christ in quiet ways. The words point toward mercy more than mystery. I hold out hope like a lantern. The light is not blinding. It is steady and steadying. The language avoids technical talk and long proofs. Instead, it offers images you can carry to bed, a hand over the heart, a shelter in rain, a lamp at the doorway. These are small things, but they anchor the night. If sorrow sits with you tonight, let it be seen. Let it rest without hurry. The room can hold the ache. The voice you hear now does not rush to fix it. Mercy arrives like rain that soaks the earth gradually. Hope grows in such soil. Offer the sadness, a gentle name. If that helps, name it not to dwell, but to acknowledge. Acknowledgement opens a small window for comfort to pass through. If joy is here, let it spread slowly. Let gratitude rest at the collarbones and the ribs. Blessings do not need to be large to matter. A single warm moment can hold the night. Let the voice you hear count one small blessing. Let that counting settle the heart. As we begin these evenings, know that the rhythm will be regular. Each session carries similar calm. There is a sense of home in that repetition. Regularity is a kind friend. It returns with quiet promise. It gives the mind a place to land. Over the coming nights, the tone will stay gentle. The readings will remain steady. The hope will be simple. A brief note about responses. Your comments help shape what comes next. A gentle note about what comforts you guides the selection of passages. If you prefer a certain kind of reading, short psalms, soft parables, consoling promises say so. The aim is to meet the night with what matters most to those listening. For now, breathe again. Notice the slow in and out. The room holds you. The night watches kindly. There is no hurry to arrive anywhere. The present moment is enough. If sleep comes, let it come like a tide. If not, let the calm be a companion. I will begin the first reading soon. The pages are ready. The lamp is low. The voice will move slowly, deliberately, like soft footsteps across a quiet house. Stay here with me. Stay open to mercy. Stay open to hope. When the reading begins, listen as if to a friend speaking by the bedside. The words are a gift to rest. Receive them. Let them sink. Let them breathe. This is the opening. This is the invitation. This is the beginning of evenings, set apart for rest, mercy, and quiet hope. When you are ready, breathe in, breathe out. We begin together now. I settle into the quiet with you. The room holds a low hush. The evening feels long for some. The day has felt too long for others. Weariness collects in small places. It sits behind the eyes. It settles in the shoulders. It hides beneath steady smiles. It comes from many directions. Work can wear thin the edges. Care for another can be a slow drain. Loss opens a hollow that does not fill on its own. The weight is honest. It is human. This section turns toward that truth. I name the weariness because naming gives it room to be seen. Recognition is its own kind of rest. The Bible often notices tiredness. The Psalms speak as people speak in the night. The psalmist knows the heart that grows heavy. The gospel tells of a one who notices the exhausted and calls them near. That notice is gentle. It does not press. It does not scold. It offers a soft place. I read for the weary. My voice moves slowly over the phrases. I keep the images small. A hand held at the ribs. A lamp kept low. A table set with bread. These pictures rest easily in the ear. They do not demand cleverness. They simply point to a presence that is near. There is permission here. Permission to be tired. Permission to set down the list for a while. Permission to let the chest soften. Permission to let thoughts be less sharp. The world outside continues. Inside this room, the pace can change. The heart can take a gentler rhythm. That gentleness is not weakness. It is a wise opening. Weariness shows itself in many ways. The mind can loop questions without answers. The body can refuse the next task. The spirit can feel small and thin. Sometimes the cause is clear. Sometimes it is not. Either way, the tiredness is a companion for the night. I speak to it like one might speak to an old friend. There is no need to push it away with quick fixes. A quiet acknowledgement lets it unfold and ease. If shame comes with the tiredness, bring it into the light of these words. Shame makes the load heavier. It insists that rest is not deserved. The scriptures meet shame with a different voice. Mercy arrives softly. Grace opens without list of qualifications. That mercy is not earned by busyness. It arrives as an offered hand, regardless of how tired the hands are. I invite a brief slowing for the body. Rest the hands in the lap. Let the knees soften. Allow the jaw a small unclench. Soften the space between the eyebrows. Notice any tightness in the chest. Breathe into that place. Each inhale is simple. Each exhale lets one thing go. Do this slowly, 3 times. Do not strain for deep breaths. Keep them natural. Keep them kind. The Bible pictures rest in many ways. Sometimes it is a shepherd who leads to still water. Sometimes it is a field where work ends for the day. Sometimes it is a promise that presence will not leave in the dark hour. These images are not solutions for every question. They are invitations to stop the hurry and stay a while. That staying is healing when the heart is raw. I read parts of Scripture that notice the honest ache of life. The language I choose is plain. It avoids layered argument. It leans toward comfort. When I paraphrase a passage, I try to keep its warmth. The voice you hear now becomes another place to set down burdens. Hearing old words in a new quiet can bring relief. The stories and poems in the Bible move slowly enough to sit beside pain. They do not rush it. They name it and then place a hand on it. Sometimes the tiredness is a long, slow series of small things. Sometimes it arrives as a sudden knock. The reading meets both. It does not pretend that words fix everything. Often, presence matters more than explanation. I stay with that thought. Presence is the main point. Presence holds what cannot be fixed tonight. If sleep seems far, let the mind rest in a single image. Picture a room with warm light. Imagine a window open to a soft evening. A cool breeze comes in, carrying the smell of distant rain. The sound of rain on leaves is steady. It is not demanding. Curiosity loosens. Bass listen. The heart can find a rhythm again. Carry that image gently as the reading continues. Grief often looks like tiredness. Grief reshapes time. It makes ordinary hours longer. The Bible acknowledges grief without smoothing over it. Mourning is a place where mercy sits. Tears are not a failure. They are a language of release. Let them come if they come. The room will hold them. The reading will not hurry them away. Each tear is an offering that the night can receive. Loneliness can thin a night into sharp edges. The Bible uses many images to speak against that sharpness. A presence is promised near where all feels alone. That promise is not abstract. It arrives in small acts of care, a remembered kindness. A neighbor's knock. A cup of soup left at the door. These acts are ordinary. They are the way presence often looks. Tonight, the reading places such ordinary presence in the ear. It is enough to ease the acute edge of being alone, when responsibilities pile like unstacked plates. It helps to name one thing at a time. Choose a single task that must be met tomorrow. Picture it completed. Let the rest of the list sit without pulling the attention now. The night does not require carrying everything at once. A small reduction in the load makes room for sleep. It makes room for the quiet mercy of the evening. I sometimes pause in the middle of a reading. The pause helps the words settle. Silence becomes a cushion. It allows the image's space to breathe. Use the pause to place a hand on the chest. Feel its rise. Feel its fall. The rhythm matters more than the speed. Hold the pause like a small harbor. A simple prayer can follow. Sit quietly in the heart. Offer these few lines gratitude for small mercies. a request for gentleness in the morning, and the willingness to let go tonight. The prayer is short, because short prayers are easy to keep when the world feels heavy. The brevity keeps the heart from arguing. It opens the door for rest. Mercy is the steady theme here. It arrives without harsh conditions. It is not dependent on productivity or merit. The reading holds mercy like a lantern in the dark. The light is not blinding. It simply illumines the next step. Follow it slowly. Allow the lantern's warmth to reach the hands and the face. Hope in this season looks modest. It is not always a sudden cure. Often, hope is a nearer breath. It is the feeling that morning may come more kindly. It is the idea that the ache might ease bit by bit. Trust in that slow work. Trust that repeated small mercies accumulate into something like revival. The Bible often moves in such patient steps. If restless thoughts return, do not struggle with them. Notice one thought as it comes. Name it softly. Let it pass like a cloud across a wide sky. Keep the gaze inward but gentle. Avoid the temptation to chase every worry. This night asks for fewer pursuits and more reception. Let the mind be a room where kindness sits down. I now prepare to read a short passage that leans toward this same tenderness. The passage I choose does not press complicated doctrine. It simply rests in the assurance of nearness. Listen, as if to someone speaking at the bedside. Take each sentence softly. Allow the meaning to float rather than demand full comprehension. When the reading ends, linger in the silence for a moment. Let the words land. Let the heart accept a small settling. If sleep comes, that is welcome. If wakefulness remains, stay with the calm. Either outcome is held. The night itself is not wasted. For now, breathe again. Let the chest open and close with a quiet rhythm. Keep the shoulders softened. Let the jaw rest. The room keeps its low light. Mercy keeps its steady watch. I place the Bible down for a moment and stay near, giving space for whatever comes next. I lift the Bible again. The lamp is low. The room stays quiet. I sit with the book in my hands. My fingers know the spine. My breath is slow. I breathe with you. This section turns toward strength. I do not speak of grand proofs. I speak of reachable help. I speak of a hand that meets a tired wrist. I speak of steady breath that steadies the heart. The old lines in the scriptures say that God makes the weary strong. I read that idea slowly. The language is simple. It says, in effect, that when energy runs thin, a different kind of power arrives. That power is not noisy. It is not demanding. It comes like a small tide that lifts a rowboat the length of a harbor. It is gentle, and it works where it is needed. Think of that strength as close as the air. It is not reserved for great saints. It greets the small room and the small doubt. It meets the person who is barely keeping the lights on. It meets the quiet hand that no one notices. Accessibility matters. Divine strength is not a distant thunder. It is a lamp on a nightstand. I tell the story of the psalm, whose voice says that the body and the heart can fail. I read the thought aloud in my own words. The psalm admits weakness and then names something firm beneath it. It names God as the deep strength of the heart. That phrase is quiet and sure. It does not erase the ache. It simply places a steady root under it. Imagine a tree with deep roots. The wind may bend the branches. The bark may bruise, yet the base holds. The tree does not pretend to be untroubled. It only keeps an inner hold, God's strength. In this way is the inner hold. It is steady when outer things fray. I keep my sentences short tonight because short sentences feel safe. They let the ear rest. Each phrase sits like a small stone. You do not need to carry heavy theology. You only need this one steady thing. Help is near. I invite a simple practice. Place a hand over the chest. Feel the heartbeat. Count one breath in. Count one breath out. Say the inward sentence, if it helps. I am not alone. I am held. Keep the words soft. Keep them like a pillow beneath the head. There is no performance here. The action is only to remember. Strength comes to the place that admits need. When weariness is wide, strength often comes in small servings. A short nap, a single hot cup of tea, a friend's brief message, a single evening passage that settles confusion. These small things are like coins in a jar. They add up. They are not dramatic. They are faithful. I read passages that speak of renewed power. I let them arrive slowly to the ear. I choose images that rest. A bird that finds rest on a limb. Streams that gather in the valley. The scriptures give such pictures because pictures fit the night. They require no urgent answers. They simply show that life has a structure in which renewal happens. Ask quietly for strength. Note a long speech, not a list of demands. A short ask is enough. Say it inwardly, or do not speak at all. The shape of the request matters less than the turning toward help. Turning is an action. It is a small surrender. It is not failure. It is acceptance of the true limits of human doing and a welcome of divine help. Sometimes, strength arrives as a change of posture. Let the shoulders drop. Let the knees soften if you are seated. Close the fingers. Then open them slowly. Let the neck release. The physical loosening often echoes an inward loosening. The inner muscles that hold tightness slowly relax when the body agrees to rest. Other times, strength comes as courage for the next step. It is not a blanket cure. It is a close light for the immediate path. The path might be a conversation, a phone call, a walk. The light is modest. It lets one step be taken. Do that step, then wait for the next small light. I do not promise that the night will be transformed all at once. The text from Isaiah that I read to you speaks of giving power to the weak, but the power often looks like a single, steady breath that carries through the hour. That is enough. It is enough because it repeats. Repetition becomes habit. Habit becomes a slow repair. Notice the voice in the Psalms that confesses weakness and then names God as portion forever. The word portion suggests a holding. It suggests that what matters is not the fullness of every appetite. It is a maintained share. There is a piece of peace set aside. That peace is enough for the night. It is enough to let the body fold into sleep. or to let the mind sit steady by the bedside. If guilt or shame says you do not deserve help, set that aside gently. The Bible does not present divine strength as payment for perfection. It presents it as a gift that meets need. The only condition is that the hand be open. That openness does not require purity of past. It requires only willingness to receive. I read slowly now a short selection that illustrates this mercy. I do not rush the words. Each clause rests like a small pebble in the palm. Allow the image to come bright. Morning after a long dark. The morning does not pretend the night did not happen. It only starts. That is how divine strength often behaves. It begins again. Hold a small image in the mind. Picture a pair of hands lifting a tired face to look at the sky. The sky needs no reason to be blue. The face receives the color. Strength can be that simple. It is a raising, a lifting, a gentle shifting. If physical fatigue burdens the limbs, let sleep be the primary practice. Sleep is a spiritual good. It is not optional for many needs of the soul. Invite sleep with a quiet ritual. Dim the lights. Sedasi the screens. Choose a line or two of scripture to repeat like a lullaby. Repeat it quietly. Let the rhythm steady. If worry presses, draw it out in tiny letters on a piece of paper. Name 3 small things you can do tomorrow. Fold the paper and set it aside. This small act often eases the mind because it moves worry from a vague cloud into a manageable list. The movement itself invites strength to settle. Strength also comes through companionship. I sit with you. I read. That companionship is an ordinary way. Grace moves. When another voice reads scripture gently, it becomes easier to receive the words. You are not alone in the quiet. That sameness matters. It is a sign of Christian mercy, in action one bearing witness to the presence of God for another. Encourage a quiet prayer now. It is brief. Say it inwardly if that feels right. Offer 3 lines. Thanks for the small mercies of the day. A request for gentle strength for tonight. And a willingness to rest in the morning. Keep the tone simple. Keep the heart soft. Sometimes the night brings fierce thoughts. They can be loud when they arise. Name 1. Put it in your hand like a small stone. Offer it to the quiet. Let it go. Do not take it back. The act of offering is itself an exercise in receiving strength. It is a step away from the endless circle of worry. I read one more passage slowly. I let the cadence be soft. The words circle around the theme of help near at hand. The sound of the syllables matters more than analysis. Let the voice be a pillow for the ear. Let each phrase land and stay. When the reading finishes, I pause long enough for silence to settle. The pause is part of the practice. It lets the words do their work. It lets the heart rest in what was heard. Sit in that silence. Breathe. Let the body answer. If sleep comes, it is welcome. If wakefulness remains, that too is welcome. Stay with the ease of the small practices. Return to the breath. Return to the hand on the chest. Repeat the short prayer if it comforts. I will leave the lamp low. I will keep the book nearby. I will stay in the room a moment longer. The night will not rush. The helping power I have spoken of is steady. It is near. It does not demand more than the simple turning of the heart. Tonight, as you settle, remember this strength arrives, not always as a flood, but often as a steady, close light. Let that light warm the shoulders. Let that light steady the chest. Rest in that steadiness. Let the words you heard be a small place to rest. I remain with you until sleep comes or until the morning. I open the Bible slow. The lamp spills a small circle of light. The room feels quiet and safe. I settle so the voice is soft. Tonight I speak about conversation, a sacred conversation, a way to speak with God that feels like speaking with a dear friend. Conversation begins with an invitation. I offer the space and the permission to speak plainly, speak without polish, bring the raw words, bring a single sentence, if that is all that comes, a whispered name, a short cry, a thankful breath. The aim is honesty more than eloquence. Begin simply. Sit with a hand at the heart. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out. Let that rhythm become the frame. Then turn the mind toward what matters most in the moment. Name one thing. It might be a small joy. It might be a heavy fear. It might be nothing more than tiredness. Say it in the mind. Let the mind give it a word. Prayer need not be long. Short phrases fit the night. Pick 2 words and breathe them. For example, a single word for release on the out-breath, a single word for welcome on the in-breath. Keep the phrase private and plain. Repeat it as a lullaby for the restless mind. The repetition roots the heart more than arguments ever will. Openness matters more than form. Bring doubts. Bring disappointment. Bring the questions that keep returning. These things are not obstacles to prayer. They are the prayer. When anger sits low in the chest, let it be named. When hope glows faint, let that glow be named too. The room holds all of it. Listening is part of the conversation. Many think prayer must be speech only. The sacred dialogue asks for quiet as well. After a short word has been spoken, allow a pause. Sit with the silence like a familiar chair. The silence is not empty. It is a listening place. Let it do its work. Sometimes answers do not come as sentences. They come as a sense of calm. They come as a small image, a remembered kindness, a sudden clarity about a next step. When such things arrive, do not demand a full explanation. Accept the smallness of the gift. It is enough for the night. Use Scripture gently as a way to begin. I read verses that feel like conversation starters. Let a single line sit in the ear. Then let the mind respond. Ask inwardly what that line puts into words for the heart. No need to solve the text. Treat it like a friend's remark that opens the door to talk. Confession may feel heavy. Keep it short. A single honest phrase can unburden more than a long rehearsal of guilt. Confession is not a list to be repeated. It is a handing over. The act of naming the wrong frees the hands. Mercy follows the handing over. Allow mercy to be simple and immediate. Gratitude also belongs in this quiet talk. It need not be grand. A single thankful thought about a cup of tea, a face, a soft chair, a small kindness is enough. Gratitude changes the tone of the conversation. It moves the ear from complaint to noticing. Let it be small and steady. When confusion circles, ask one direct question and wait. What needs my attention tomorrow? Where is the next small step? What truth does my heart need to remember tonight? Ask with gentleness, then remain quiet for a few breaths. The answer may come quickly. It may come as a restful sense. It may come later in a dream. Trust the timing. A simple ritual helps. Close the book and place a hand on the pages. Breathe. Speak one short line. Open the eyes slowly. Listen, or keep the eyes closed and imagine light near the forehead. Small rituals teach the body to be ready for sacred talk. They form a habit that eases the mind. I encourage writing when sleep does not arrive. Keep a small notepad by the bed. Let a single line be written a thought, a petition, a thank you. The page holds the word. The act of writing moves worry from inside the head into the room. Fold the page. Set it aside. This small motion is part of the handing over. Do not expect loud revelations. The sacred friend often answers in the low voice of steadiness. It is a presence more than a performance. The Bible shows instances of quiet guidance. Often the steady way is enough for the next step. Let the smallness of that help be satisfying. Imagination can be gentle company. Picture a trusted friend sitting nearby. Picture a light that does not blaze but warms. Picture hands that do not push but rest on shoulders. These images are not substitutes for reality. They are ways to make invisible kindness feel near. Use them as needed. Let the mind rest there. Anger and doubt can be a form of honesty. Allow both without apology. The aim is not to tidy the heart into a Sunday list. The aim is to be real. Say what is felt. Then sit and listen. Mercy often arrives after honesty. It meets what is given, not what is performed. When fear feels sharp, speak one small truth aloud in the mind. It might be a remembered kindness. It might be a line from a psalm that comforted before. Allow that small truth to spread through the chest like a cool cloth. It need not solve the whole problem. It eases the edge enough to sleep or to face the night. If sleep comes during this sacred dialogue, welcome it. Let the conversation fall into dream. If wakefulness remains, stay patient. The practice itself soothes the mind. Repetition teaches the heart that it may come near without ceremony. Repetition makes the room into a familiar place of talk and rest. Community matters too. Sometimes the sacred conversation is not solitary. Think of those who pray over the phone in the next room, or of friends whose texts arrive in the day. Their prayers become part of the quiet around the bed. Remembering that others speak similar simple words helps the night feel less empty. I read aloud some short scripture to hold the conversation steady. I do not read to argue. I read to invite. Let a verse sit. Let the ear take it in. Then pause. Allow a small prayer or question. Keep the interval long enough for the heart to breathe. If tears come, let them. They are part of talk. They can be words the tongue cannot form. The room accepts them. The reading continues slowly. Tears do not interrupt the mercy. They often clear the path for it. A habit of daily, brief conversation shapes the heart. Make it small so it can be kept. A few minutes each night is enough. Begin with a thankful word. Name one fear. Ask one question. Then wait in silence for a few breaths. End by offering what was spoken into the room. The act matters more than the words. I stay with the book in my hands as I speak these things. My voice is soft. The lamp is steady. The room is calm. I invite this practice not to fill time, but to form rest. The sacred dialogue changes the way the heart faces morning. It does not fix everything overnight. It trains the heart to receive rather than to perform. Before I close this section, I invite a brief exercise. Breathe slowly 3 times. On the first breath, name one thing to give thanks for. On the second, name one worry to release. On the third, offer one desire for gentleness tomorrow. Keep the words short. Keep the tone like a whisper. Then sit in silence for a minute. Let the silence be the answer. I place the Bible back on my lap. The lamp dims a fraction. The practice ends with a small pause. That pause is not empty. It gathers the night together. It lets the sacred conversation complete its small cycle. Sleep may follow. If it does, let it carry the words into rest. If not, sit with the quiet and return to the practice. When it feels right, I will read for you again. I will keep the pace slow and the language simple. The sacred dialogue will be ready each night like a chair by the bedside. When the moment comes to close the eyes, let the last thing be an honest word and a listening pause. The night holds both. The mercy is near. The conversation continues. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp low. The room keeps a soft hush. Tonight, I turn toward forgiveness. It is a quiet subject. It is also a freeing one. Forgiveness is not a lecture. It is a practice of the heart. It is a way to set down a burden you have carried too long. I speak slowly, so the idea can land like a pebble in still water. The ring of that pebble becomes a widening piece. Think of a small stone in your hand. It grew warm from the grip. You know its weight. Now imagine placing it on a table. The hand rests easy. The shoulders relax. That is what forgiveness can do. It is not sudden magic. It is a deliberate motion. It is a choice to set down. Often, holding on to hurt is a quiet, daily business. It lives in small places. A remembered tone. A look that did not come. A promise left broken. These things repeat like a tape in the mind. The repetition wears the edges of the day thin. It makes sleep harder. It keeps the chest tight. I invite you now to notice one such memory. Do not chase many. Choose one. Let it be specific. Let it be small enough to hold. Close the eyes if that helps. Breathe in. Breathe out. Place the memory like a small object on the palm of the mind. See it. Name it in a single phrase. Keep the phrase short and honest. Matthew 6:14. reminds us of the shape of mercy. It teaches that forgiveness is part of a pattern. If you allow mercy for another, the pattern opens toward mercy for yourself. I do not read those words as a rule to earn favor. I read them as an invitation to free the heart. Mercy tends to travel in circles that loosen the grip of pain. Forgiveness is not the same as condoning harm. It does not mean forgetting or pretending nothing happened. It does not require reconciliation. Sometimes, safety asks for distance. Forgiveness works inside your own chest first. It loosens the coil of bitterness so a gentle life can return. I ask you to place a hand over the heart now. Feel the beat. Let this be a steady anchor. On the out-breath, imagine a small knot of tension leaving the body. You do not throw away the memory. You reposition it. You move it from the tense, clenched place to a shelf where it no longer pulls at the wires of living. Forgiveness is often simple in shape, but hard in practice. Begin with a short sentence in the mind. It need not be ornate. It may be only 3 words. For example, a soft offering may I release. Say the phrase inwardly as you breathe. Do not pressure the heart to feel something dramatic. Allow the phrase to be a gentle invitation. I sometimes read a paraphrase of the scriptures aloud in these moments. I say that mercy comes to those who open their hands. The words rest like a soft garment. Let them cover the shoulders of the memory. When forgiveness begins to move, it rarely rushes. It moves in small increments, a fraction at a time. Sleep sometimes takes one of those small increments, and we wake with a lighter load. Imagine a river at dusk. Leaves float on its surface. They do not struggle against the current. The current carries them. Forgiveness resembles that current. It does not force forgetting. It simply allows the hurt to travel along a new route. The river helps the heart to stop grinding against the stone. If anger flares when I suggest letting go, that is honest. Anger has its own integrity. It often signals a need that was unmet. Do not silence it with shame. Name it. Say, "This is anger." Allow it to be a part of the room. Then, let forgiveness be a separate tool you use to ease the burden the anger leaves behind. Forgiveness also changes how you pray. Instead of rehearsing injuries, you place them in God's care. That placement is not a denial. It is a handing over. The act of handing over, even quietly, shifts power. It reminds the weary heart that it does not have to be the final judge of every wrong. Such a reminder is mercy in itself. I offer a brief exercise that fits the night. Breathe steadily. On the first inhale, hold the image of the hurt lightly. On the first exhale, imagine extending your hand. On the second inhale, picture a gentle light touching the memory. On the second exhale, let the memory rest in that light. Repeat twice more. Keep the breaths even. Keep the images small. Forgiving someone does not mean erasing the lesson the hurt taught you. It means you keep the lesson, but you no longer wear the wound as armor. The lesson may stay like a small lamp on a shelf. It will guide future steps without weighing the feet down. Mercy often begins when we name our own need for it. Admitting that carrying bitterness saps the spirit is not weakness. It is a clear fact The Bible offers stories of people who needed mercy as much as any other need. The invitation is the same turn toward giving mercy, and a return of mercy comes like a quiet dawn. I speak softly about practical steps. If something needs to be repaired, choose a small way to act tomorrow. A brief apology, a conversation when both can be calm, a letter you never send but write to clear the inner space. These actions are not demands. They are options you can use when the time is right. If confrontation is unsafe, choose another path. Prayer can be a safe way to release. Writing the name and folding the paper and placing it somewhere out of sight is a symbolic handing over that often helps. Small rituals matter because they move the body along with the heart. Remember not to expect perfection from yourself. Forgiveness is a repeatedly chosen act. It is not a single event. Some nights, you will feel the decision fully. Other nights, you will only practice the shape of the choice. Both are real work. Both count. Guilt sometimes joins grief about a wrong you committed. Forgiving yourself may feel even harder. Practice the same small steps. Name the wrong. Ask for mercy. Make a short plan for repair if needed. Then allow the hand on the heart to rest. Self-forgiveness often comes in slow, patient steps. I read now a gentle paraphrase that points to the possibility of release. The language says that mercy flows to those who open their hands. Hear this, not as condemnation, but as an invitation. Let it be a soft call to let go of one thing tonight. If tears come as you go through these motions, let them fall. Tears are part of the loosening. The night will hold them. The voice will remain steady. Let the room be a place where sorrow finds a small exit. Each tear is a small passage toward ease. Before sleep, choose one small forgiveness act to hold. It may be internal to stop rehearsing a grievance. It may be external to send a short message of peace in the morning. Keep the act small and achievable. Small acts build trust with yourself. They show that mercy can be practiced. I close this section with a brief prayer in the heart. It is not ornate. It simply says, help me release. Help me accept mercy. Help me sleep lighter. Say the prayer quietly, or hold it without words. The intention matters more than the language. When I close the book tonight, I set the lamp beside it and keep the room still. The voice softens. The work of forgiveness continues in the slow hours. Let the mind rest on the single act you chose. Let the hand on the heart remember the breath. Allow the mercy to do its steady, small work. Tomorrow the morning will come. If the hurt returns, meet it again with the same small discipline. Forgiveness builds itself one gentle choice at a time. For tonight, let release be enough. Let the night be a place of rest where mercy sits like a friend at the bedside. I remain here a little while longer, listening to the hush. When sleep comes, I let the words settle inside you like a taut pillow. When waking comes, carry the simple habit forward. Mercy begins in small rooms and sleepy hours. It grows from there. I bring the Bible to my lap and sit with you a little longer. The lamp keeps a small circle of light. The room breathes slow. Tonight I tell a story I keep returning to. It is about forgiveness lived out in small, Steady steps. It is about someone who finds peace after years of holding a hurt. I met her at the end of a long day. She keeps a quiet house. Her hands are steady from the work of life. Her face holds lines that do not look harsh. They look like proof of long attention. She carries memory like many of us do. It sits just under the collarbone. It is a familiar weight. For years she keeps a private list. The list is not written down. It lives in the pocket of the mind. A voice repeats the offenses. Names come and go. Small moments stack. Each memory is a pebble. Each pebble helps her feel safe for a moment because it proves she remembers. Yet the pebbles are heavy. They press into the ribs when she breathes. She sleeps in short bursts. She wakes with the list in the first light. Some morning she wakes and feels the tightness like a band around the chest. The world feels thin. Kind words from friends do not reach the place where the memories live. She smiles and keeps the list steady. It becomes company. It becomes, strangely, identity. She is the keeper of what happened. That role begins to narrow other doors. She is not unaware of mercy. She hears about it. She prays in small ways. She reads lines of scripture at night. The words comfort. They do not erase the ache. Mercy feels at some times like a distant lamp. It is probable. It is promised. It is not immediate to the bones. 1 year, an unexpected thing happens. Her husband dies. The grief rearranges everything. It opens a space she cannot tidy. The list still sits there, but now the weight of loss exposes it. In the long evenings, the pebbles clink against one another. They draw attention to themselves. She notices how sharp the edges feel now that other things have fallen away. Grief does not solve the ledger. It only makes the ledger more visible. She finds herself in a new kind of sleeplessness. Nights stretch and fold. Simple tasks require more thought. The house hums with memories. The list continues. Then a friend speaks a small suggestion. Not a lecture. Only a suggestion. She is asked to try an experiment. The experiment is simple and quiet. At dusk, she gathers a handful of small stones from the garden. She holds them one by one. She names the memory attached to each stone in the silence of her own mind. She places the stone upon a little tray by the window. When the tray fills, she walks to the river. There is no public drama. There is no forced reconciliation. No conversation happens across a table. The practice is private and plain. At the riverbank, she opens her hand and lets each stone go. One by one, they fall into the moving water and sink or float. Carried in the current, she watches the ripples. She watches what the river does with weight. She does not force forgetfulness. She only hands the thing over to the flow. The first evenings, this practice feels awkward. The stones are heavy in the hand. She wonders if the act is naive. She wonders if she owes the other person a confrontation. The river does not care. It takes what is offered. She returns home with an emptier tray and a chest, a little looser. Weeks pass. The ritual repeats. The list thins. Sometimes the same names come back. Sometimes new pebbles appear. She continues. She keeps the practice like a soft homework. Over time, the jaw unclenches in sleep. Waking becomes less sharp. The memory refuses to vanish. It only stops pressing as much. At a slow point, she tells me that the river work changes how she prays. She's quieder. Her words to God become shorter. They are less arguments and more small offering. She notices that when she gives away some of the old grievances, requests for mercy feel less hollow. The mercy she seeks no longer needs to slip past the hard shell of anger. It finds its way in through the new openness. This is not to say that the river erases the wrong. The wrong still sits in the story of her life. The person who hurt her does not become a saint on account of the stones. Forgiveness here does not equal reconciliation. It equals a reorientation of the inner household. The hand loosens on the old list. Space opens for other things. She begins to forgive herself too. Self-reproach is a different kind of weight. She learns to name one small failure and then place a stone for it in the tray. The act of handing even that over makes the morning lighter. Forgiving self is a stubborn practice. But she keeps at it. She forgives herself for harsh words, for things she left unsaid, for the times she chose safety over truth. The river does not judge. It only carries what is released. In the months that follow, I notice a change in how she speaks about mercy. There is less bargaining. There is less reliance on the ledger to explain worth. She has not become perfect. There are still nights when the list returns to the bedside. There are still mornings when sleep breaks early. But the presence of mercy becomes tangible. She tells me that it feels like a hand on her shoulder that she did not earn. She recognizes the kindness and does not feel that she must deserve it first. When I read the Bible beside her, the words land differently. Where once they catch like hooks and pull back, they now fall like soft feathers. The lines about pardon and mourning feel less theoretical. They feel like breath. She says that forgiving others opens her heart to receive forgiveness. She does not frame it as a treatise or as a proof. She says it as a fact of experience. Letting go makes more room for mercy to come in. This story matters to me because it is ordinary. It does not require public courage. It does not demand heroic confrontation. The work of forgiveness is simple. It is embodied. It is a handful of stones at dusk. It is a repeated loosening. It is a willingness to try a small act. I tell the tale now, because the night often brings us to the places we try to hide from by day. The dark seems to sharpen old hurts. Sleep feels farther when memories have weight. Forgiveness, practiced gently, can be a way to fold work into rest. The ritual I describe is not the only way. It is an example of how a small physical act assists the heart in handing over what it cannot carry. If you carry a similar list, I invite a tiny experiment. Find something small you can hold. Name one memory. Place the thing somewhere different. Or walk quietly and let the object go. If release into water feels too dramatic, place the object into a box and set the box on a shelf. The outward step matters because it moves the inner hand. Forgiving another does not always change the other. It changes you first. It changes how prayer feels. The more you practice it, the more mercy feels reachable. You do not earn it by gritting the teeth. You welcome it by softening the grip. Before I close the book tonight, Take a slow breath. Imagine the small act you might do. Keep it simple. Keep it safe. The goal is not to fix everything at once. The goal is to make one small motion toward release. When the lamp is low and the room is still, the act of letting go finds a rhythm. The heart learns to trust that mercy can enter where it used to be barred. Forgiving others becomes part of receiving forgiveness from God. It is not a forced equation. It is a lived truth. I leave the story with you as a small offering. Hold the image a while. Breathe the breath that goes with it. If sleep comes, let it. If it does not, stay with the quiet. Mercy waits in the small hours. The river keeps moving. The stones do not return. The night holds what you hand over. Rest now. I lift the Bible to my lap and breathe with you. The lamp is low. The night stays soft. Tonight, I speak of grace. I speak of it as a gift. I speak of it as something handed to the weary without price. Grace is not a prize for effort. It is not a reward for doing more. The idea in Ephesians comes to mind. It says that what we have is a gift, given through faith, not something we earn by trying harder. I read that truth slowly to you. I do not argue about it. I let the words settle. They sit like a cool palm on a warm forehead. Listen to the shape of the thought. You are not required to perform to be loved. Mercy comes before merit. A heart open in need receives what it did not pay for. This is rest for the striving soul. It is a place to stop proving worth. I tell this in small sentences. The mind receives small sentences more readily in the hush. Grace arrives near the ear like a simple sentence. You are accepted. That sentence is short enough to carry. It is true, whether or not the day felt full of success. It is true whether or not mistakes were made. I read a brief paraphrase aloud. The language is plain. It reminds us that salvation is by grace. It reminds us that so much of our hope rests on an outstretched hand rather than a tally of deeds. Hearing the paraphrase is not a lecture. It is a lullaby. Let the cadence rock the chest. Think of grace as a blanket placed over cold shoulders. The blanket came without work. It arrives with gentleness. It warms what is aching. It does not ask for a receipt. It does not tally favor. It stays for the night. I describe a small scene so the idea can breathe. Picture a small kitchen table at dusk. A cup of tea cools at the edge. A letter sits folded. You did not write everything right today. You missed small chances to be kind. You feel the weight. Then someone gently sets the cup beside your hand and says, "There is nothing you must do to deserve warmth." Now, you accept the cup. The simple hospitality is grace in action. This does not remove all consequences. Sometimes repair must be made after harm. Grace does not cancel the need to repair what is broken. It does, however, change the posture of the heart. It allows repair to begin from a less terrified place. It gives courage to act without shame as a first bridle. I speak softly about shame. It often convinces the heart that acceptance must be earned. This lie tightens the chest. Grace unknots that tightening. It offers a new map. The map does not tell you to ignore wrong. It tells you that wrong does not disqualify you from care. It tells you that fresh chances can begin in a single breath. A short practice helps the idea become alive. Place a hand on the chest. Feel the rise and fall. Think of one failure that sits heavy. Picture it small. Do not open it wide. Keep it simple. In the quiet, breathe in the phrase this is given. Breathe out the phrase I receive. Repeat 3 times. The phrases are tiny. They are not a full theology. They are a beginning. Let the heart receive the rhythm. Grace also changes how we meet others. When the heart knows it is received without performance, it can offer reception more freely. Mercy becomes contagious. A small act of kindness transforms harder faces. A listening ear held without judgment becomes a vessel of grace. The room warms. The bed feels less lonely. I read one line of scripture to hold this thought. I do not pound it. I let it float. The line reminds us that faith is the way we receive, not a list of boxes to tick. Faith is the posture of an open hand. That posture is restful. It invites trust. It invites a quiet acceptance. I tell a short, new story. I meet a man who has carried a long shame. He worked late nights to cover mistakes he feared would be known. He believed each success would buy safe standing. One evening, his plans fail. The truth comes out. He expects judgment and distance. Instead, a neighbor brings soup and does not ask for explanation. The neighbor's arrival is a gift. The neighbor does not say that the soup is deserved. The neighbor simply holds the space and hands the bowl. That simple generosity looks like grace. It shocks the man into a new feeling. The body loosens its defensive line. The man sleeps with less clenched hands that night. This brief tale is not complex. It shows how grace can arrive in ordinary acts. It also shows how receiving matters. He could have refused. He could have insisted on paying back the debt first. Instead, he accepts the soup. Acceptance is part of the gift. Saying yes to mercy is a small act of faith. I stay away from heavy doctrine here. The point is practical. Grace heals the small wounds of daily life. It eases the mind that counts errors. It allows rest. It invites waking with less fear of the day. I also say a quiet thing about worth. Worth is not a result. It is a given. That truth is soft. It does not clamor. It rests like a light in the next room. When this is believed slowly, day by day, a gentle change happens. The need to prove lessens. The appetite for constant achievement cools. The heart begins to pace itself with more kindness. A small exercise for tonight helps the idea settle. Think of one simple blessing you can accept without justification. Let it be small. A warm bed. A voice on the phone. A soft chair. Say inwardly, thank you for this. Do not add why you deserve it. Keep the thanks simple. Let the acceptance itself be the practice. Grace also works quietly in failures. When a mistake is made, try staying with the reality instead of spiraling into self-accusation. Admit the error. Make a short plan for repair if needed. Then rest in the fact that mercy is available while the plan unfolds. This approach is both honest and tender. It does not excuse harm. It refuses to let shame be the final authority over the heart. I read a small passage slowly now, paraphrased and calm. It repeats the thought, this is a gift you did not earn. Receive it like a traveler receives water. Drink. Do not test the measure. The water is safe. The act of drinking is gentle obedience. If doubts rise, attend to them like clouds moving across the moon. Name one doubt. Let it be a cloud, not a ruin. Say quietly, I do not know everything. I accept this gift, despite my doubts. Keep the sentence short. Return to the breath. Grace invites solidarity too. When another comes to the bedside with a heavy heart, offer the slack of mercy rather than the tight rope of judgment. The small kindness will shape the night. It will teach a weary soul that being received is not tied to a ledger. Mercy then becomes a living thing in the household of friends. I end with a brief, quiet exercise to carry into sleep. Place the Bible on the chest and close your eyes. If that feels right, breathe slowly 3 times. On the first breath, feel the fact of being accepted. On the second, imagine that acceptance settling at the collarbone. On the third, let a tiny image of gratitude bloom a simple light. A soft hand. Keep the picture small and gentle. I will read Ephesians again tomorrow. I will keep the pace slow. For now, let the idea of grace sit in the room like a low lamp. Let it light a path you do not have to earn by running. Let it steady the shoulders. Let it make sleep possible. When the book closes tonight, I leave the lamp on a very low glow. The room holds a quiet that is not empty. It is full of mercy that came without price. Rest in it. Receive it. Let the word gift be a lullaby. The night keeps you. I remain near until sleep comes. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp low. My voice is a steady thread. I read to you each night. Tonight I invite a softer step. I invite the practice of receiving embrace grace. Let it be a balm for the places that ache. Grace comes as kindness without strings. It arrives before any list of deeds. It meets the tired and the tried. It is a gentle hand on a shoulder that has done too much. It is a salve for old cuts. Hear that as an image. Let the image rest in the ear. Begin simply. Rest the palm on the chest. Feel the beat. Breathe slow. Inhale for 3 counts. Exhale for 3. With each out breath, imagine a warm lotion moving across the ribs. The motion is small. The change is subtle. The body notices. Little by little, the tightness loosens. Receive grace as an act, not as a thought. Act by accepting a quiet. Act by staying still when the mind urges movement. Act by saying one short phrase inwardly, let this be for now. Keep the words brief. Let them be like a coin you lay down on a table. The coin is small. The laying down feels real. Grace heals in layers. It does not erase memory. It eases its edges. Imagine rubbing ointment on a sore spot. At first the sting remains. Then warmth spreads. The skin forgives the touch. So does the heart. Grace does what a balm does. It reduces inflammation. It makes the texture of the night easier to bear. Part of embracing grace is permission to rest without accounting. The mind often keeps a ledger. The ledger lists tasks, failures, shoulds. Grace loosens the ledger's grip. It tells the heart that the night does not demand an audit. Let the books close for a while. Close the eyes on the math. Let the accounts wait until morning. I read passages that offer this ease. I do not preach a lecture. I read like a friend, reading a letter at bedside. Let the words fall without analysis. Let them sink into the chest. Listen as if to rainfall. The sound alone can be balm. Practice a small ritual with me. Each night, when the lamp is low, press the thumb lightly into the palm of the other hand. Hold it there. Think of one grace you have received in the day. However small, a kind look, a meal, a moment of laughter. Let that memory rest under your thumb. Keep the breath even. This steady contact makes receiving an action of the body, and not only of thought. Notice how the body answers. A shoulder may drop. The jaw may unclench. The breathing may change. These are signs that grace moves not only in the mind, but in the muscles. Allow the body to learn receiving as a habit. Habits shape days more than intentions do. Sometimes accepting grace feels wrong. Shame can whisper that mercy must be earned. When that voice comes, name it gently. Say, in the mind, shame speaks. Grace replies. Name it without arguing, then return to the steady breath. The naming keeps the dialogue honest, without letting shame take the steering wheel. Grace also frees action. It loosens the fear that keeps hands folded and prevents repair when a wrong needs making right. Grace steadies the feet to take a small step. It does not rush reconciliation. It gives courage to try. It supplies the softness that makes mending possible. Imagine grace as light on a work table. The tools for repair sit ready. The light does not do the fixing. It simply makes the work visible and less terrifying. You can take one small action in that light. A call, a note, a short phrase of apology. Do it from a place where you are not trying to buy mercy. Do it because you have already been met by it. Receiving grace is not passive in the sense of ignoring real needs. It is active in the sense of choosing mercy over control. It is a hands-open posture. Try the posture now. Let the fingers spread slightly. Feel the openness. The posture trains the mind. It invites a different way of moving through the night. Grace touches the body too. Worn hands, tired feet, treat them kindly. Soak them in warm water. Lay a cool cloth on the forehead. Let the senses find comfort. Small physical mercies are often the first language of divine care. They speak of attention before argument. Community is part of receiving. A neighbor's quiet presence. A phone message that says, "I'm here." A friend who brings bread. All these are grace visible. Let others give. Accept without guilt. The acceptance itself is a blessing for both giver and receiver. It keeps mercy in motion. I keep my reading slow, so space opens for acceptance. Between each sentence I pause. The pause is a place to let the words settle like small stone. During the pause, try a short inward prayer, help me receive. No long list, no demands. Just the willingness to say yes, grace can feel like liberation. Imagine chains falling from the wrists. The sound is small. The relief is not explosive. It is steady, like a river uncovering a pebble. Liberation in this sense is not a spectacle. It is ordinary. It is waking lighter in the morning. It is moving without the old tightness. There will be nights when acceptance returns slowly. Some evenings, only a corner of the heart softens. That is enough. The lamp does not have to flood the room. A small glow changes how the feet step tomorrow. Keep expecting smallness. Grace often builds quietly. If acceptance seems blocked, try an imaginative exercise. Picture a small bowl on a table. Into that bowl, place one concern. Make the image specific and manageable. Place the worry there. Close the lid with a soft hand. Picture the lid labeled mercy. Set the bowl on a shelf. Let the shelf hold it for now. This is not evasion. It is a small training to move care from the tense clasp into a kept space. Healing follows in loops. One night of acceptance may not finish what a year of worry began. But each act of receiving makes the loop a bit looser. Keep returning to simple practices. Keep the rituals small. Repetition is not boredom here. It is steady work. It teaches the muscles of trust. I offer a brief act of thanks. Now, say inwardly 3 words. Thank you. I receive. Let them be a whisper. Do not study them. Let them land like a feather. The tiny motion of thanks opens a path for grace to enter deep. Grace also invites play. A light moment. A small joke. A quiet smile. These are not frivolous. They are part of the healing fabric. When mercy touches the heart, laughter sometimes follows. Permitted, without guilt. Joy is a gentle sign that healing is working. When worry rises in the night, return to a single phrase you can trust. Make it simple and repeatable. Let it be a small anchor held already. Repeat it with the breath. The phrase is less important than the habit of returning to mercy instead of spinning away. Community prayer is another way to receive. When the voice in the next room prays, let that voice be a shelter. When I read scripture aloud, let the words function like a hand placed on the shoulder. They are there. They do not demand, they invite. Receive grace for future mornings as well. Picture the coming day and give one hope a place to rest. It might be a small hope, a peaceful meeting, one honest conversation, a moment of quiet. Name it softly. Let grace anchor that hope. The act of giving hope a resting place makes the night less anxious. If forgiveness is needed toward self, speak one short line in the mind. It may be only, I am forgiven. Say it without argument. Let it be a small garment the night can wear. The garment will not remove the need for repair. It will make living in the meantime less sharp. As the reading slows, allow the mind to soften. The Bible's words will meet you there. They do not demand perfect understanding. They simply offer presence. Let them be an easy companion. I will read again tomorrow. For now, Keep the lamp low. Keep the hand on the chest. Breathe with the slow rhythm practiced earlier. Let grace move like balm through the places that ache. Let it make room where there was tightness. Let it teach the body how to receive. When sleep comes, let it take the work of receiving into dream. When morning comes, carry one small mercy forward. Act on it if needed. Let grace be practiced both at night and by day. Tonight ends on purpose. Embrace one small practice before you sleep. Receive one tiny gift without explanation. Hold it lightly. Rest in that acceptance. I remain near. I keep reading. The lamp will be low. The mercy will keep watch. I settle into the hush beside you. The lamp is low. The Bible rests across my knees. Tonight, the reading pauses for a quiet practice. This is a time for reflection. The aim is calm. The aim is remembering mercy that has already come. Breathe with me. Inhale slowly. Count to 4. Hold for 1. Exhale for 4. Repeat twice more. Keep the rhythm soft. Let the breath be a slow tide. The body answers to the tide. The shoulders melt. The jaw softens. The hands fall into an easy place. Turn the attention inward without hurry. Do not hunt for great moments. Look for small instances. Ask for 3 things, 1 from today, 1 from this month, 1 from long ago. Let the first arrive like a coin on the palm. Let the second come like rain on a window. Let the third settle like a star behind clouds. No pressure to find grandeur. Small mercies count. Bring to mind one occasion today, when grace touched the day. It might be a quiet smile from a stranger. It might be a sentence left unsaid that cleared a moment. Picture the scene simply. Note color. Notice sound. Note how the body felt. Hold the detail lightly. Let the memory pulse with the breath. Now breathe into that moment. Imagine warmth at the place where the memory sits. The warmth is not flashy. It is steady. Allow it to spread 3 inches in every direction. Let the warmth name itself mercy. Say inwardly one short phrase, thank you. Keep the phrase plain. Let it land and rest. Turn next to the month. Think of a time recently when help arrived unbidden. Perhaps someone carried a burden that felt too heavy. Maybe an unexpected word lifted a hand from a heavy shoulder. Picture the helper in outline. Feel the texture of what was offered. Do not analyze motives. Receive the gift as it was given. Let it enter without weighing it. Place both memories beside each other. See them like stones on a windowsill. Some are smooth. Some have sharp edges. Do not smooth the sharpness. Do not hide the rough. The practice is to acknowledge what came. Let a quiet gratitude rise. The gratitude need not be large. It is a small light for the long night. Finally, summon an older memory. It can be a morning after a hard season. It can be a single word spoken in a time of fear. It can be a hands-on moment when kindness was made visible. Let the image be as plain as possible. Do not force details. Let a single quality stand out of voice. A touch. A quiet presence. Hold it for 3 breaths. As these 3 settle, Notice how the chest changes. Perhaps it loosens. Perhaps it tightens a little, and then eases. That movement is part of the work. Mercy often arrives as a small shift, rather than a loud triumph. Trust the smallness. If any memory brings pain instead of relief, approach it gently. Do not press to fix it now. Let the painful memory keep its shape. Place it a little away from the others on the windowsill. Give it a name in a single word: wound, loss, anger. Then breathe and allow the name to be held. Naming does not solve. It opens space. Imagine a soft light entering the room at the level of those memories. The light does not erase. It warms. It gathers the edges and softens them. If visualization is difficult, imagine a familiar sound instead. A small bell, rain on a roof, the rustle of pages. Let that sound mark the moments of grace and make them easier to receive. Now, I invite a small movement. Rest fingertips lightly on the knees. Tilt the chin down a fraction. With the next exhale, fold the hands together once. Slowly, as if closing a small book, this motion is an act of acceptance. Acceptance does not mean everything is solved. It means the heart allows mercy to rest in the room with it. If a name or face appears that you cannot give mercy to yet, do not force a reconciliation. The practice here is internal. It asks only that the heavy thing be seen and that a small release be offered. You may place that burden in a simple container in the imagination. Close the lid. Set it on a shelf for now. Return to the breath. A short prayer may help. Keep it 3 lines or less. Say it inwardly. Offer thanks for the small mercies. Ask for help to receive what cannot be earned. Request gentleness in the morning. The prayer is not a trial. It is a turning of the heart. If prayer is unfamiliar, a brief silence will do the same work. Notice the pattern of giving and receiving. Often a memory of grace contains both. Someone gave, someone accepted. Sometimes acceptance was the difficult part. Allow compassion for the self that received awkwardly. Mercy visits even when hands fumble. That is part of the story. Turn the attention now to breathing into the future. Think of one small hope for tomorrow. Make it manageable. A single calm conversation. A brief walk. A moment of rest between tasks. Place the hope at the edge of the windowsill beside the 3 memories. Imagine mercy like a quiet guard so that the hope can be carried into the day. If insomnia lingers, return to these images slowly. Rerun the small sequence today. Month. Long ago. Then the simple hope. Do not rush. Gentle repetition is the work that prepares the mind for sleep. Each pass loosens the grip of worry by offering the heart evidence that grace exists. The Bible I hold is full of such slow movements. It is not a catalogue of answers. It is a companion that points toward mercy in everyday scenes. When I read, I choose passages that mirror these small acts of receiving. The words become a companion to the memories. They do not argue. They echo. Allow silence to sit now. Silence is not empty. It is a place where the 3 brief memories and the small hope can gather like moths around a lamp. Let the silence hold them for 3 long breaths. Feel the steadiness that grows in the chest. Let it be enough to begin sleep or to make wakefulness kinder. Before the stillness deepens, place a light hand over the sternum. Feel the slight lift with each inhale. Let the hand be a reminder. Mercy has touched this chest. The gesture is not about proving worth. It is about recognition. Acknowledge what has been received. Let acknowledgement be an offering of rest. If tears come, accept them without shame. Tears are honest work. They make room. They pour old tightness out so that gentleness can enter. Wipe the face with the back of the hand. Allow the tear to be a sign, not a verdict. The night keeps such work safe. I will read a short, gentle passage in a moment. It will be calm. The cadence will mirror the breathing you have practiced. The sentences will be brief. Let them fall like soft steps. If sleep arrives, let the reading travel into the dream. If wakefulness remains, let the word sit like a companion at the bedside. Before the reading begins, offer one small offering of thanks. Make it specific. Say inwardly, "Thank you for the cup of warmth today," or "Thank you for a single kind word." Keep the thanks short, saying it is the act of receiving. Let the room hold the gratitude the way it held the memories. Tonight's reflection closes on purpose. The aim has been quiet attention. The aim has been to collect evidence of care. Remember, mercy appears often in modest shapes. Small kindness, a brief apology, a neighbor's presence, a hand laid on a shoulder. These things count. They are enough to steady the night. When the lamp softens further, place the Bible closed on the lap or beside the bed. Keep the hand that rested over the sternum there for a moment. Breathe with the slow tide. Let the final exhale carry the intention to rest. The night will do the rest that words cannot. I remain here until the first lines of the passage are spoken. The voice will be steady. The reading will not press for answers. It will simply join the quiet you have made. If sleep comes, let it come like a tide pulling in gently. If it stays at bay, stay with the calm and return to the small set of memories and the single hope. Rest now in the gathered quiet. Receive the grace you found. Let it be enough for tonight. The lamp holds a low vigil. Mercy keeps watch. The breath keeps time. The room is gentle. The night is wide. Let sleep find what remains open. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp low. The night is still. My voice is slow. Tonight, I tell a story of grace that came quietly. I tell it as a witness. I tell it as one who reads the scriptures each evening and watches how mercy moves in simple lives. I meet the family on a grey autumn afternoon. The house sits near a river bend, painted the pale colour of old paper. The porch sags a little. The mailbox leans. Inside, a small table holds dishes and a single lamp. The light is steady. The air smells faintly of stew that was once warm and is now cooling. They are not strangers to trouble. Work shifts. Stop. A shop closes. The father's hours shrink to less than the body needs. The mother stitches part-time at the church hall and counts thread like coins. A small child coughs at night. Bills pile like unseen snow. The family does what many do. They tighten belts. They skip treats. They let hope fold in on itself like a blanket folded too many times. One evening a quiet thing happens. The mother opens the front door. On the stoop sits a plain paper bag. It contains bread, a jar of honey, an orange, and a small loaf wrapped in waxed cloth. There is also an envelope without a name. The envelope holds enough to cover the next week's grocery list. No signature, no sermon, just a gift set gently at the threshold. They do not ask who left it. They do not look for a list of reasons. They accept the bag with the kind of relief that aches the body and soothes it at once. The child eats the bread that night with fingers that move slowly, as if tasting shelter. That is the first note of grace. Weeks go by, and the small things collect. A neighbor brings a pot of soup without announcement. A mechanic in a corner shop repairs the stove for a quarter of the usual price, because he remembers a favor from a season when the family helped his sister move. A librarian gives a coupon for a used winter coat. None of these are grand gestures. None are loud. They arrive like small lamps being placed along a dark path. I notice the pattern when I read scripture to the family one night. They invite me inside after a Sunday gathering. The room is warm with the hush of people who have practiced being careful with their words. I read a psalm that night. I read slow and let my voice be a hand on the shoulder of the room. The words do not lecture. They point. They remind the ear that mercy is nearer than fear. Something shifts in the household. The mother begins to fold grace into the day. When she sets the table, she includes an extra bowl in case a neighbor knocks. When the child plays, small hands offer toys to a friend who does not have many. The father, whose pride once folded like a closed letter, sits on the porch with another neighbor and listens. He offers a steady presence more than tall solutions. The small receiving becomes small giving. The ripple grows. A friend of theirs who works at a clinic sees the changes and passes along a note, offering free health screening for a month. A teacher at the child's school gives extra reading time and mentions a scholarship for a summer program. The man at the bread shop gives a few unsold pastries to the little boy on days when the shop is slow. None of these acts carry trumpets. They simply extend what was given at the doorway. The family feels the chain of kindness. They call it grace in the quiet moment. This grace does something tender to the inner life. Fear remains. Bills do not furnish. Yet the heart holds less hardness. Where once a ledger lived like a second pulse, now there is a small room for breathing. The mother sleeps a little longer in the mornings. The father accepts a temporary job at the school, supervising the playground. The child wakes with fewer abrupt wakes in the night. The household learns that mercy does not arrive only in sums. It arrives in steady smallness. One winter, a neighbor's roof collapses under snow. The family hears about it and goes with warm hands and a shared ladder. They bring tools. They bring thermoses. They bring a steady willingness to stay in the cold until plywood and prayer hold the house again. The neighbor cries without words. The family's shoulders are sore the next day. They are also warm. They have become both receivers and responders. The earlier bag on the stoop now passes through them as an action. I read about such returns in the pages I hold. I read about seeds that grow and multiply. The story in the Bible that night is not long. It simply traces how a small act of mercy can change a life's course. It does not promise easy ends. It promises pattern. It promises a way of living that makes room for others. The family takes that pattern as a guide. In the months that follow, a subtle change shows in the town. A woman who once kept her curtains closed begins to set a pot on the back fence for neighbors to help themselves to free fruit. A young man who saw the envelope on the stoop starts a small program to share winter coats. A retired teacher begins a Saturday class in the church basement, offering coffee and reading practice to anyone who comes. Each of these moves is small. Each is enough. The family watches the ripple and does something they had not imagined a year before. They begin to repay in kind, not by matching sums, not by clearing debts, but by becoming a place where help arrives without questions. The mother organizes a weekly supper where anyone can come and eat. The father spends time tutoring a young man who struggles with reading. The child, now older, learns to hand over a toy without being asked. These acts are quiet. They are, in themselves, forms of worship. I read the Bible aloud for the town sometimes. I keep sentences slow. I let the words fill the room like a warm quilt. People come to listen, not for doctrine, not for fine points. They come because the words are a map for living gently. The family sits near the front on certain nights. They rest there. They offer their plates to strangers on other nights. The circle widens. Years pass. The season of extreme need softens into a steadier rhythm. The father finds a job that pays enough to let the house keep the heat on. The mother starts teaching a cloth restoration class at the community center. The child chooses a path that puts care at the center. The family's name becomes a small sign in the town they who once received now offer. The first gift on the stoop becomes a story that children retell as they run past the house. The ripple goes farther than the town. A visitor from the city hears the story and brings a van of supplies to a food pantry. The pantry, now better stocked, helps another neighborhood that had suffered floods. The flood survivors, in Turn, help rebuild a schoolhouse in a neighboring county. The acts are never showy. They are tidy, simple ways of being neighbor. I tell the family's story the way I read scripture, slow, without hurry. The aim is not to make them saints. The aim is to show how grace moves in the ordinary. The story is not an argument. It is a description of mercy, made visible. It asks only that the ear receive the image, a bag on a doorstep, a loaf passed across a table, a hand at a ladder, a light placed in a window. When I close the Bible that night, I hold the book gently. I fold the page with care. The family offers tea. The child sleepily rests a head on the table and smiles, content. We sit a little while in the quiet that follows a story well told. The light in the room seems softer. The town is no less messy than before. The world still holds sorrow, yet mercy has found pathways there. It has left small lamps in unexpected places. The ripple effect matters. It reminds us that our small acts of kindness do not disappear. They grow. They change the shape of days. One warm bowl reduces fear for one night. That single night can make a family's next step a different one. A different step changes the tone of a morning. A different morning opens a door for another. Mercy moves in such arithmetic. I place a hand over the Bible where the ribbons cross the page. I breathe with the steady rhythm I have taught you. The story ends not with a trumpet, but with a steady quiet. I do not promise that every hardship will vanish. I promise that mercy can travel, and that when it does, it often asks little of us beyond a willingness to accept and to pass along what we can. Before sleep, I read a short verse that speaks of tending the needs around us. I read it slowly. I do not press it into sharp doctrine. I let it be a gentle closing. Then I close the book and keep the lamp low. Tonight the message is simple. Mercy comes often without notice. When it meets a heart, that heart can turn and give to another. The ripple is small at first. It is enough. It keeps growing in quiet ways. Rest now. Let the story sit like a soft thing in the chest. Let the breath slow. Let hope be a steady lamp at the window. The night holds you. The mercy that moved through that small house moves through many rooms. It asks only a hand open to receive, and one ready to pass it on. Sleep in that tenderness. I remain near until the first soft breaths tell me you are resting. I sit with the Bible in my hands. The lamp is low. The room is warm and quiet. I read to you each night. Tonight I speak about inner peace. I speak about a kind of calm that lives even when the world is loud. The day brings many small emergencies. The mind keeps a list. Phones buzz. Tasks repeat. Worry arrives like rain. It can be steady and thin. It can be a sudden downpour. The nervousness tightens the chest. The breath becomes quick. The heart feels exposed. Peace in this life does not mean the world becomes gentle. It means something steadier grows inside. It is a quiet room inside the house of the heart. The windows are not all closed. The room listens. It does not collapse under noise. I often read a short line from Philippians. I do not quote it here, word for word. I say it in my own way. The idea is this: God's peace comes in a way that we cannot fully explain. It arrives beyond the mind's tidy logic. It settles around the heart and keeps watch. It is like a sentinel that stands at the gateway of feeling. The thought is simple. The assurance is soft. When the world presses, begin with a small posture. Sit with your feet on the floor if that is possible. Let the spine be long, but not rigid. Drop the shoulders a fraction. Rest the hands in the lap. These tiny changes are practical. They teach the body that the night does not demand tense readiness. Breathe slow. Breathe as if the air is a wide sea. Inhale for 3 counts. Pause for 1. Exhale for 4. Repeat. The out-breath lengthens the cycle. The breath itself becomes a small teacher. It maps calm into the muscles. Keep the sentences in your mind short. A long narrative can wind the mind into more thinking. Short thoughts are like pebbles set in a row. Let one land at a time. Choose a phrase to anchor the attention. It need not be theological. It can be practical, and rooted, this moment is held. or I am breathing, or peace is nearer than fear. Repeat it softly on the out-breath. Let the phrase be a simple latch. Imagine a quiet room inside you. Picture it as plainly as you can. A chair by a window, a small lamp, a low shelf with a few books, a cup of warm tea on a saucer. No clutter, no alarm. The room does not pretend the world outside is different. It simply remains a place to return. When thoughts intrude, picture them as people at the door. They knock. The door can be closed for now. The room keeps its light. God's peace often behaves like that private room. It does not remove the knocks. It keeps a steady watch. It stands guard at the heart's entrance. The guarding is gentle, not harsh. It protects the center without demanding performance. The presence is both security and permission. Permission to breathe. Permission to rest. When anger or fear rushes in, do not battle it as an enemy to conquer. Attend it with a simple posture of care. Name it inwardly with one word. Let the naming be an act of seeing. Seeing reduces the wildness of the feeling. It becomes less a storm and more a weather pattern. Weather changes. It does not last forever. I ask you sometimes to place a hand on the chest. Feel the beat. Place the other hand on top, if that comforts. Hands are good instruments for attention. They remind the body that someone tends it. The contact is small, but it says, I am here. The breath answered to the touch. The heart is held. There is a rhythm to peace. It is not sudden. It is a series of small habits. The habits teach the nervous system how to respond to stress. The habits are short and repeatable. A brief prayer, a quiet reading, a slow walk, a steady cup of tea, a 5-minute pause at midday. These are not dramatic. They are consistent. I read from the Bible slowly, so the words can do their quiet work. The passages I choose are not long. They are pauses. They are like small bridges back to the inner room. The text points gently to the possibility that peace is not only a feeling, but a presence that guards. The presence holds the heart and the thinking mind. Meditation here is not jargon. It is a simple practice. Close the eyes if that helps. Turn attention to one sense. Listen for a single sound in the room. Maybe the faint hum of a fridge. Maybe the distant rush of traffic. Trace it for 3 breaths. Then let the mind rest in the feel of the breath again. The simpler the frame, the easier the mind is to keep. I sometimes say a short blessing aloud. I keep it small. It is only a handful of words. The blessing is not meant to prove anything. It is a turning. For example, may peace keep the heart. Say it quietly. Repeat it like a lullaby to the soul. The repetition roots the thought in the body. The body remembers softness. When mental chatter returns, do not scold it. Think of a lake. Thoughts ripple the surface. The lake below holds depth. The depth remains. The surface can be wine-tossed. The depth is not hurried. Sometimes the practice is to notice the ripples and then look inward toward the quiet water. The quiet water is the place where the peace that surpasses understanding rests. In daily life, build small boundaries. The world is not a place for every request to be answered at once. It is okay to let messages wait. It is okay to say no, softly. The ability to guard the heart includes the freedom to choose what occupies attention. Gentle limits are an act of love toward the inner room. Make simple rituals that call you home. A small evening cup of tea. A pause after a meal. A book laid open to one known passage. A short walk with no phone. These actions are like beacons that call the heart back from busyness. The beacons are not legal demands. They are invitations. If sleep feels distant, try a short guided image. Picture gaan at dusk. Soft lamps hang in the trees. The air smells like warm earth. A single path leads through herb beds. You walk slowly. Your feet feel the cool stones. Each footstep carries one small letting go. This image is not a magic trick. It is a practice that trains the imagination to serve rest. Remember that peace can sit alongside sorrow. They are not opposites that cancel each other. Peace holds sorrow with tenderness. It does not deny the ache. It simply refuses to let the ache become a tyrant. The guarded heart houses both feeling and stillness. It knows how to care for the wound while bending toward rest. When anxiety feels large, pick one small task to tame it. Name tomorrow's first reasonable step. It can be as small as pouring a cup of water or answering one email. The act reduces the sense of endlessness. It makes the day feel more like a sequence of manageable moments. The mind appreciates manageable things. Prayer, for many, is a way to hand off worry. A short, plain sentence can be enough. I often say, in my mind, Lord, help me keep peace. The line is brief. The act is not dramatic. It is a release. Let the prayer be like opening a window and letting a draft take the heat. I read the Bible to you each night because the words carry a different cadence than the mind's busy debate. They are not a contest to be won. They are an invitation to a slower life. As I read, let the phrase about God's peace that guards the heart rest somewhere inside. Do not press it to make logic of it. Allow it to be a sentinel you can imagine at night. If guilt whispers that peace is not deserved, meet the voice with gentleness. Remember that peace is an offered thing. It does not arrive on the basis of success. It rests on mercy. The guard at the gate is not a registrar of merits. It is a presence that holds, whether or not the ledger is clean. Practice brief moments of gratitude before sleep. They do not need to be elaborate. Name 3 small things from the day that were good. A warm cup, a gwaithgol, a moment of light. Let gratitude be short and sensory. It is a quiet counterweight to worry. I close the Bible slowly when the reading is done. I wait in the silence a few breaths longer. The pause is part of the ritual. It allows what was heard to settle. The lamp stays low. The room keeps a watchful hush. Before you sleep, place a hand over the heart. Breathe with the steady rhythm. Say inwardly a simple sentence. Peace, keep my heart. Let the phrase be short, clear, and without force. Let it be like setting a small lamp on the windowsill. If sleep comes, let it take the phrase into dream. If it does not, stay in the quiet and return to the breath. Either way, The guard is present. Even when the mind does not understand the how, the heart can be kept. Tonight's ends on purpose. The aim is not to remove every storm. The aim is to give a steady place within the storm. Practice small things. Build simple rituals. Let the Bible's slow words be a companion. Let the peace that passes understanding settle like a slow tide. I remain here with the lamp and the book. I will read again tomorrow. For now, rest in the thought that your heart is being guarded by a peace that cares for the small and the large. Breathe slowly. Lay your hand light on the chest. Let the sentinel of peace keep watch while you sleep. I set the Bible on my lap and breathe with you. The lamp makes a small pool of light. Shadows rest quietly at the edges. Tonight, I invite a slow image. A path appears in the mind. It is simple and sure. Picture the path as you might a familiar road. It is not crowded. It does not demand speed. The ground is firm beneath the feet. The path curves gently, and each step feels spaced, like a calm heartbeat. The air is cool, but not sharp. It smells faintly of earth and distant rain. Let your feet find the first step without haste. Notice the edges of the trail. Small grasses brush the ankle. A low tree leans in a companionable way. Light falls through branches in thin ribbons. The world beyond the path exists. But here, the scene narrows to one steady lane. The narrowing is a mercy. It keeps attention from scattering. Walk slowly. Feel the soles of the shoes or the bare skin of the foot. Grounding matters. It steadies the mind. As you walk, place each worry like a pebble in your pocket. Do this gently. Name one burden in the mind. Tuck it away. It does not vanish. It is simply moved to a softer place. For now, the path will hold what you cannot carry this hour. Alongside the path, notice a presence that walks without hurry. It is close and steady. You do not need to look to know it is there. The presence has the quality of safety. It might feel like a warm light at the shoulder, like a hand near yours, like a steady pace that matches yours. No grand announcement, no demand for words. Just accompaniment. I speak of God's presence in simple ways. Think of it as someone who knows how heavy nights can be and chooses to walk with the tired. The companion does not judge the steps you take. It offers calm. It offers shelter in silence. When the pace falters, the presence leans in just enough to keep walking possible. Continue along the path. Notice small, concrete details. A stone smooth from water. A low fence mended by care. A bench beneath a maple. The details are kind. They ask little of you, but they steady the scene. Let each breath mirror a step. Inhale as you lift the foot. Exhale as you set it down. The breath and the movement create a rhythm that eases the nervous system. Keep to that rhythm. Soon the path opens to a small clearing. The clearing is meant for rest. It is simple, a low bench, a shallow pool of still water, a lantern hanging from a branch. The light is warm and steady. The pool reflects the sky without glare. This place belongs to you in a tender way. It feels private and safe. Sit on the bench. Feel the wood under the body. Set down the hands. Allow the shoulders to uncoil. Place the palms lightly on the knees or fold them in the lap. If it helps, drop the chin a fraction so the neck can relax. Let the breath lengthen by itself. As you rest, let the presence sit at your side. It does not crowd the bench. It is simply there, steady. Imagine that presence as a companion who watches the heart with patience. You do not have to explain the day. You do not have to list reasons. The companion already knows. Trust that this is enough. I read to you from Scripture for nights like this. I paraphrase slowly. A voice in the old book speaks of being led beside still waters and being granted rest. I do not press the words hard. I let them be a soft invitation. The image of still water is not meant to fix everything. It is meant to make room for rest. Let that image sit over the pool before you. Look into the pool and notice what it offers. It mirrors the lamp and the branch and the sky. Notice how the surface is calm enough to hold reflections. The calm is not forced. It arrives because the water is not stirred. Sometimes the heart only needs the permission to be still. Give it that permission now. If thoughts come, plans for tomorrow, small anxieties, fragments of memory, watch them like leaves floating on the pool. Notice a thought. Let it drift to the edge. Do not chase it. Do not push it under. See it. And let the current carry it past. The companion at your side does not grab the thought from you. It simply holds the bench steady so you can watch without running. Take one small image from the clearing to carry with you when you move. It might be the lantern's low light, or the feel of the bench beneath the thighs, or the sight of a single leaf turning. Keep it minimal. Make it tactile so that memory can find it in the dark. This small image will be a path marker you can return to if wakefulness returns. I invite a brief, gentle practice here. Place a hand on the chest. Breathe into that place. On the out-breath, imagine a warm thread stretching to the companion's hand at your side. The thread is quiet and steady. It reminds the body of support that does not demand perfect answers. Repeat 3 soft breaths with that image. Let the thread be a tether for the heart. When you are ready, rise from the bench. Walk a few steps more along the path, if that calms the legs. Or stay seated and allow sleep to arrive. Either is welcome. The path exists, whether the eyes are open or closed. The companion continues beside you. The clearing remains a place to come back to before the image dissolves. Speak a short inward line of trust. It can be only a few words, I am not alone. Allow the line to land without argument. Let it be a small anchor. Keep it as simple as the path itself. Now I lead you into a gentle examine. This is the quiet work of looking back with warmth, not with harshness. The examine teaches a tender recounting of the day. It is not an audit. It is a remembering offered into the companion's hands. Begin with stillness. Sit or lie comfortably. Let the breath find a steady pace. I guide 3 short movements of attention. Each is brief enough for the tired mind and full enough for the heart. First, recall one moment of gratitude. It can be small, perhaps a single warm cup, a kind look, a short message that did not demand a response. Let the moment play for a breath or two. Notice where it lives in the body. Allow a quiet thank you to arise. Do not make the gratitude elaborate. Keep it simple and tactile. Second, recall one place where the day felt hard. Name it gently in the mind. It need not be retold in detail. A single phrase is enough. Notice how the body carried that moment. Offer that memory to the companion at your side. Ask for mercy for what felt raw. This asking is not a long argument. It is a handing over. Hand it over in one breath. Third, notice any small movement you might take tomorrow to ease what was hard. Make it specific and achievable. A brief phone call. An honest small task. One step toward repair. Or toward gentleness with yourself. Keep it tiny. The aim is a doable motion that makes waking less heavy. As you complete the examine, place both hands on the chest. Feel warmth where the hands meet. Breathe slowly. Whisper inwardly a short surrender. I entrust this night. The surrender is an action, not a failure. It tells the mind that some work will wait until morning, and that mercy will meet what cannot be done now. I read a brief line of scripture to close in this way. I do not lift it as a test. I carry it like a lantern. It says that rest can be found when the heart turns its burdens over. Hear that thought as a soft promise. Let it sit across the chest like a cool hand. If sleep comes now, welcome it. Let the path and the companion travel with the breath into dream. If wakefulness remains, return to the path image, the bench, the lantern, the steady presence. Walk the steps again slowly. Revisit the 3 movements of the examine. Repeat the small images. Allow repetition to do its gentle work. I keep the lamp low. I keep the book close. The voice here is a steady companion, not a taskmaster. The night holds room for mercy, for rest, for small repair. I will read to you again tomorrow. For now, rest in the path, in the presence beside you. In the simple act of handing over, breathe. Let the hush gather like a soft cloth. The night keeps watch. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp very low. The room is quiet. My voice is near the ear. I read slowly for you. Tonight, I invite a plain practice. It is a way to touch peace that feels real. Peace is not an idea to solve. It is a presence to enter. It often comes in small, ordinary ways. A cool draft at the window. A single voice that does not demand. A moment when the chest finally eases. These are the doors by which it usually arrives. Begin where the body is. Keep the posture easy. Let the spine belong. Let the shoulders stop trying. If sitting, let the feet rest on the floor. If lying down, let the limbs fall heavy. These small changes tell the nervous system that the night is not for battle. They are messages to the body. Calm is allowed. Notice the weight of one worry. Do not gather a list. Pick the one that sits closest to the surface. Name it without drama. A single word is enough. Hold that word in the mind like a small pebble. It is not a confession. It is a notice. Seeing the pebble makes it less mysterious. Now imagine a quiet room beside you. The room is simple. A window looks out on steady trees. A chair waits. A small lantern hangs from a beam. The light is warm from within, not harsh. Place the pebble on the chair. Set your hand on the pebble for a moment. Then let it rest there. You do not throw it away. You only move it to a safer place. This practice is a map for letting go. It is not erasing. It is choosing not to carry everything into the night. The pebble sits in the chair. You step back from it. You breathe. The act teaches the hands what the will sometimes forget. In that quiet room, God is near in a hush. I do not speak of thunder. I describe a steady presence. A gentle companion who sits at the window and watches the same trees. The companion does not scold the pebble. The companion does not demand explanation. The presence simply keeps watch and makes room. I read a short passage from the scriptures. I do not quote exact lines now. I only say this. Some old words teach stillness. They tell of a hand that calms the soul. They speak of waters that are led into rest. Hear that idea like a small lamp being set on a table. Let it make the room softer. Prayer here is brief. It is not a long list. It is a single turning. You do not need to speak aloud. Offer one quiet sentence in the mind. Maybe it is simply, "This help me be still," or "This hold this for me." Keep the words plain. The posture matters more than eloquence. Solitude is not loneliness in this practice. Solitude is chosen company. It is the act of stepping into a private room with a friend who does not hurry. When the night makes the mind noisy, solitude folds the noise into a small pocket. In that pocket, mercy can move more freely. Listening is part of prayer. After the short sentence, wait. Skip the urge to fill the silence. Let the quiet sit like a warm cloth over the lap. The presence that calms often speaks as a pause rather than a sentence. It can come as a gentle sense, a slight easing, or a small image. Do not demand a clear answer. Accept the comfort of being heard. Use the senses to anchor the mind. Notice one sound in the room. Maybe the hum of a heater. Maybe the far echo of traffic. Let the ear rest there. Notice one smell. Perhaps the faint scent of linen. Allow the senses to draw attention outward and then softly back in. The body will follow. If thoughts rush in like a flock, imagine the lantern at the window. The lantern is steady and unmoved. Name each thought as it arrives. Picture it as a small bird that glances at the glass and then moves on. You do not have to open the window for every bird. The lantern simply lets them pass. This helps the mind not to chase every image. I invite a brief exercise of surrender. Take the pebble from the chair in the quiet room. Hold it in one hand for a breath. Then set it on the edge of the pool nearby. The pool is still. Let the pebble sink until the water closes gently over it. Watch the ripple. Watch it fade. This is a symbolic letting go. The act is small but real. Solitude and prayer together form a gentle loop. You turn inward in short moments. You speak a single line. You wait. You let the presence you sense breathe near the heart. The loop repeats and becomes steadier each night. Over time, it trains the heart to expect calm. Avoid the temptation to argue with worry. Worry is not an enemy to defeat by force. It is a guest that will test the welcome. Invite it into the room. Offer it a chair. Then show it the lantern and the pool. Let it spend the night there, rather than dragging the house into unrest. If the pebble is stubborn, try a small coping object. Keep a smooth stone, or a goin, or a scrap of cloth by the bed. When worry returns, place the object in your hand. Name the worry with a single word. Then place the object on the bedside table. This outward action often helps the nervous system accept a different order. The mind likes a ritual that involves the hands. In the scriptures I read to you each night, many passages comfort the solitary heart. They do not erase pain. They underline a faithful presence that stays near when words fail. I read such lines slowly. The cadence of the language matters more than the argument. Let the rhythm ease the hearing. If solitude feels empty, imagine a small song. It is not a hymn. It is a short, plain melody the heart can hum alone. The tune has 3 notes. Hum it softly as you breathe. The repetition gives the mind a gentle task. It anchors attention without forcing thought. Peace also grows in simple service. The next day, plan a small act of kindness, nothing large. A note, a cup of tea, a short call. Prepare this small act tonight in the quiet room. Think of the person. Imagine placing a pebble of kindness on their porch. Doing something small for another loosens the tightness of worry. Action moves the heart out of its loop. When grief arrives, do not rush it. Grief and peace are not opposites. They can rest in the same chamber. Allow tears when they come. Let them be part of the release. The presence that calms is not scared of tears. It sits with them. Tears often clean the lens so the lantern's light can be seen more clearly. I sometimes offer a short prayer aloud, so the ear has a familiar sound. It is never long. Tonight I speak only a few words. Keep this quiet in my heart. Do not study them. Let them be a line to hold on to. If words are hard, simply say Amen in your mind. The single syllable can mark the end of striving for a while. As the minutes pass, let the body sink deeper. Let the jaw go slack. Let the eyelids grow heavy. If sleep arrives, welcome it with the sense that the pebble is set aside. If wakefulness remains, remain in the room. Keep returning to the lantern, the pool, the companion at the window. Revisit the pebble. Set it gently by the light again. I read now a short passage that sings of quiet. I do not press it into argument. I let it fall into the air, like rain on a small roof. Allow the words to land. Let them gather in the chest. Do not test them. Receive them like a cup set down under a steady stream. Before I close the book, place a hand at the throat. If that comforts, feel the breath move under the fingers. Imagine the presence making a soft circle around the collarbones. The circle is small. It is enough. The gesture is a blessing you give yourself. Tonight's practice ends with a single action. Pick one small worry. Place it in the chair of the quiet room. Leave it there. Say one short sentence inwardly. I hand this over. Let the sentence be an offering, not a decree. The act is about trust, not proof. I lower the lamp a fraction. I sit a moment in the hush. The night listens. The presence stays near. If sleep comes, let it take the practice into dream. If wakefulness remains, return to the lantern and the pool. The calm is patient. It does not rush the heart. When morning comes, carry one small piece of this peace into the day. Keep the pebble on the bedside table if you like. Let it remind the hands how to let go. Small reminders build a new habit. The habit teaches the heart that peace is not only a rare guest, it becomes a regular visitor. I close the Bible for now. The pages rest. The lamp dims. I remain a little while, listening to the room. Peace does not always announce itself loudly. Often it comes like a neighbor who sits on the porch and hums while knitting. The sound is simple. It is enough. Rest now in the hush. Let the companion at the window keep watch. Let the lantern be a small lamp in the chest. Hand over one pebble tonight. Let the pool take its ripple. Sleep, when it comes, will be gentler. The heart will find its measure if given the quiet to breathe. I sit with the Bible in my lap and the lamp low. The room breathes with us. Tonight I speak of rest, not as a goal to pursue by force, not as an item to tick off. Rest as renewal. Rest as healing. I read to you the old invitation again, and let it breathe. The voice in Matthew calls the tired to come and find rest in Jesus. It is an open hand. It is a quiet call. I do not quote the line. I only place its warmth beside the ear. Rest repairs what the day takes away. It stitches small tears in the spirit. It soothes the muscles that hold worry. It settles the mind that runs like a child in a field of daisies. When sleep comes, the body mends. When the heart is given room, memories stop thrumming under the ribs. Rest is not only the end of the day. It is a practice of trusting that not everything depends on the doing of now. Healing and renewal arrive slowly. They come in small measures. A single night often does not fix years. Yet one night can be the first true shelf where tomorrow's work may sit. The next day can look different, because a night's rest made small repairs. The Bible holds this thought like a soft garment. It invites the weary to a place where strength returns a bit at a time. I offer this tonight. Make space for rest as if you were setting a chair for a friend. The act of creating room matters more than ceremonies. The body notices motion. The mind accepts patterns. The world will still pull at you. You will still have things to do. But a small space kept nightly teaches the heart that rest is permitted. Start with the physical. Choose a corner that feels kind. A chair, a stool, the edge of the bed. Place a lamp that gives warm light. Keep the glow small. Light that is low signals the body that action is over. A simple thing on the table helps a Bible. A goop, a cloth. The items mean nothing by themselves. Together they form a small altar of rest. A hardcover book closed beside the Bible can be a sign that the world's lists are set down. A soft blanket folded within reach is a tangible mercy. Turn toward the senses. Smell matters. A faint scent of chamomile or warm linen helps the mind relax. Sound matters. Choose a hush rain, a soft hymn. The small scrape of a page. Touch matters. Place a smooth stone in the palm to hold, or a warm mug between the hands. The body learns through the senses. Teacher the senses to know when the hour is for rest. Boundaries help. A household can agree on a quiet hour. A lamp dimmed at a certain time says, "This is the hour we return to ourselves." If the home is full of life during the day, make the bedtime ritual brief and clear. One small action can signal the end washing the face, changing into gentler clothes, setting the phone face down in another room. The ritual need not be elaborate to be faithful. Digital things demand small discipline. Screens carry a steady pull. A screen's light keeps the muscles of attention taut. Decide on a gentle cutoff. Leave devices in another room or in a basket. Turn notifications off. If work needs answering, give it a short, designated slot earlier in the evening. Doing so returns the night to the body. Time is also a settings issue. Try a short routine each night. Keep it to 4 or 5 motions. For me, the order is simple. A wash of the face. A cup of something warm. Opening the Bible to one passage. A soft prayer. And lying down with hands folded. The pattern is small. The regularity trains the nervous system. Repetition matters more than drama. Create a worry box. Keep a small notepad and pen by the bedside. Name one worry. Write it down in one line. Fold the paper and place it in a box or tray. The act moves the worry from the mind into the quiet of the room. It is a physical handing over. Some nights I place the slip under the Bible. The motion is not a cure. It is a practice. The body notices when the hands are occupied. Use a short prayer as a bridge. A sentence or two spoken inwardly will do. Keep the words small. Say them like a lullaby. If prayer feels foreign, a brief intention suffices. I will rest now. I let this go for the night. The posture matters more than the phrasing. Turning toward mercy is what heals. Make small rituals of release. A practice I recommend is simple and bodily. Sit on the edge of bed. Place one hand on the chest, one on the thigh. Breathe in for 3 counts. Breathe out for 4. On the out-breath, picture a small thing leaving the chest, an image, a sound, a knot. Do this 3 times. The breaths are tiny acts of handing over weeks. They change how the body responds to stress. Allow naps without guilt. A short rest in the afternoon is not selfish. It is a provision. A 20-minute nap can soften the edges of a long day, if sleep at night is hard. A well-timed nap can teach the body that rest is safe. Make it small. Keep it short. Use a gentle alarm. The body will thank you. Keep Sundays, or one day a week, softer. Sabbath need not be a long sermon. It can be a small shelter. Turn off major plans. Choose one gentle delight, a walk, a book, a shared meal. Say no to tasks that feed the ledger. Mercy invites rest. A regular day of softer rhythms trains the heart to expect grace. Invite the Bible into the ritual gently. Read a short passage slowly. Let each sentence sit. Do not ask the mind to analyze. Let the phrases land like small stones at the edge of a pond. I read to you in this way because words that are ancient often cradle the present. They carry a tone more than a thesis. They make room inside the chest for a different kind of breath. When Jesus calls the weary, he does not demand a list of merits. That invitation is an offering. I let that offering rest on the bedside table. Tonight it is an act of release. I do not have to earn the right to lay down. I do not have to tally what I failed to do. The invitation stands like a lamp in the hall. Walk toward it slowly. Keep gentle company. If you share a home, speak a quiet signal to those you live with. A lowered lamp, a closed door, a hand placed on the shoulder. Tiny things teach others to allow your rest. If solitude is your companion, make your corner hospitable. Welcome the night, like an old friend, and set a place for it. Practice forgiveness before sleep when possible. It lightens the chest. A small, inward willingness to release a grievance reduces the night's work. It does not erase pain. It only shrinks its demand on the present hour. I have watched simple acts of letting go change mornings. The habit is humble and slow. It is worth starting tonight. If healing is needed, name a small step for tomorrow. A call, a short appointment, a brief walk. Small actions keep the mind from spinning. Making space includes planning one small, reasonable step for repair. The rest you take tonight will give the muscles the strength to act tomorrow. Use a comfort object if it helps. A scarf, a small stone, a pair of socks worn soft. The object is a permission slip to the body. Let it tell the nervous system you are allowed to soften. The symbolism is simple. The body remembers movement more readily than arguments. I invite you now to choose one thing from this list. Pick one small action to practice tonight. Dim the lamp by 2 notches. Put your phone in another room. Fold a scrap of paper and write one worry. Place it in a box. Open your Bible to a single sentence. Breathe 3 times. Lay your hand on the chest. Let the invitation from Matthew stay near the ear come. And find rest. That call is for tonight as much as for any other hour. I will read a short passage now. I keep it slow. The cadence is the work. If sleep comes, it will carry the words like a small garment. If wakefulness remains, let the pattern repeat. Practice will form the muscles of rest. The night is not a test. It is a safe place to begin again. When I set the book down, I stay a moment. The lamp is low. The room is kind. Rest is not a remedy you must earn. It is an offered place. Receive it tonight in one small way. Let the body renew. Let the heart begin its healing. I remain with you until the breath slows and the hush grows full. Shawu. I sit with the Bible open and the lamp low. The room is quiet. My voice is a steady, soft thread. Tonight I lead a small ritual. It is a practice of surrender. It is meant to steady the hands and ease the mind before sleep. Begin where you are. Settle the body. Let the feet find the floor if you sit. Let the limbs fall heavy if you lie down. Make one small adjustment to be kinder to the muscles. Unclench the jaw. Soften the brow. These little motions tell the body that the hour is for rest. Place the Bible within reach. Keep the pages available like a neighbor's hand. If you like, light a small lamp. Choose a light that does not glare. Warm light is easier for the eyes. Let the room feel safe. Let the edge of the room be dim. The dimness will teach the mind to slow. Breathe slowly with me. Inhale for 3 counts. Pause for 1. Exhale for 4. Let the out-breath be slightly longer than the in-breath. Repeat this 3 times. Do not force the breath. Keep it gentle. Let the chest feel the small easing. I invite you now to gather one thing from the day. Not everything. One small weight. Name it inwardly in a single phrase. Make the phrase short. Do not argue with it. Do not make an essay. Name it and hold it like a pebble. Place that pebble in your mind's hand. Picture a table beside you. Lay the pebble there. You do not throw it into the street. You do not hide it. You set it down. The motion is deliberate. It is an offering rather than an erasure. Turn your attention to God as you are able. I do not ask for elaborate words. Offer a single short sentence inwardly. If words fail, breathe the intention. The act of turning is what matters. The posture of handing over is a prayer. I often speak aloud 1 or 2 short lines, quietly enough to be a hush in the room. I do not seek argument or proof. My words are a simple channel. They are a way of placing the day into hands larger than my own. You may follow silently. You may use different words. The form is less important than the taking of the step. If your mind resists, surrender. Do not scold it. Name the resistance with 1 word and place that word on the table as well. The practice allows room for what refuses ease. Surrender does not require the disappearance of difficulty. It only asks for a new relation to it. Take a small object if that helps. A stone, a scrap of cloth, a folded note. Hold it in 1 hand. Let the weight remind you of the offer. On the exhale, make a soft motion of release with the hand. The object may stay nearby. The motion itself trains the muscles of letting go. Read a short verse slowly. Do not seek complex meaning. Hear the cadence. Feel the line settle in the ear. Let the words act like a lamp in the small room of the chest. I read phrases that promise shelter, that speak of rest beside still waters, that invite the weary to come and find ease. The images are simple and steady. After the reading, sit in silence for 3 breaths. Let the silence be a place where the hand you have used becomes still. Silence is a companion. It is not empty. It holds what the voice has set down. Let it keep the pebble and the object safe for the night. Offer 1 brief act of trust. This is not a vow. It is a breath-sized intention. Say it inwardly. I leave this here for now. Or I will trust this night to hold what I cannot carry. Keep it short, keep it tender. The sentence is a doorway, not a lock. If sleep comes now, receive it. Let it take the pebble and the object into dream. If wakefulness lingers, remain in the hush. Repeat the breathing pattern. Return to the simple sentence. The ritual is a lamp you can relight when needed. End tonight's ritual with a soft closing. Place a hand over the heart. Feel the steadiness of the beat. Thank God in one short phrase for this small offering. Close the Bible if you like. Let the lamp dim a notch. Stay a few breaths more in the quiet. The act of a small closing tells the body the hour is complete. The ritual is not magic. It does not promise instant change. It is a repeated practice. Night after night it becomes easier to hand over a piece. Over time the hands find new muscles. Mercy moves not by force, but by repeated gentle turning. Shalil, I tell stories next. I choose them for their ordinary wonder. They are not grand rescues. They are quiet restorations. I share them like a neighbor, recounting how a fence was mended bit by bit. These stories are small evidence that mercy moves in daily life. I know a man who keeps his nights long. He works early. He carries a steady worry about not having done enough. Years of such rhythms leave the chest tight. He learns a small habit. Each night he writes one line of truth on a scrap of paper. The line names one way he was faithful that day. However small, he folds the paper and places it in a jar. Weeks turn to months. The jar fills. The voice of accusation loses a little of its authority. The jar becomes proof that grace met him in ordinary act. He sleeps more often. His hands unclench at dawn. There is a woman I met who finds restoration through apology. She had lived years under a record of cold refusals. A single conversation, short and brave, opens a path toward repair. She does not expect instant reconciliation. She expects a slow mending. She starts by writing brief, honest notes, no grand speeches, one line at a time. Some responses come, some do not. Still, the act of offering changes her. Shame loosens. Sleep returns in longer stretches. She calls it mercy arrived by small admissions. A family in a narrow house learns how community can restore. Food comes first as a practical gift. Then neighborly presence follows. A man who once kept his pride like armor finds himself on a ladder, repairing a roof with others. He discovers that hands working side by side make room for stories to be told. What he thought was only charity becomes fellowship. The house warms in a new way. The child in that family sleeps better because the adults around the table laugh and let down their shoulders. These restorations grow from repeated ordinary acts. I also know of a quiet return from addiction in a small town. The path there is not dramatic. It is a set of tiny repeated choices. A person keeps a short list of what matters that day. They call one friend they trust. They attend a small meeting and sit silent. They read a single verse each night and count one short mercy before bed. Recovery is not a single event. It is a daily practice of turning toward something steady over months. The life that was eroded by habit regrows in small ways. Sleep comes without the thin edge of fear. Hope becomes more solid. Restoration often arrives where forgiveness is practiced. I told you earlier about letting pebbles go into a river. I return to that image now because it repeats itself. A woman who once carried a long list of offenses began a similar ritual. She names one wrong out loud in the quiet, not to shame but to hand it over. She follows the name with a short prayer of release. She does this often. It does not erase every scar. It does make space for mercy to enter. The practice softens the jaw. It teaches daytime nerves to accept rest at night. In another small story, a man learns to receive help. He had always been the giver. Pride kept him awake. Then someone left a bag of food on his porch without fanfare. He accepts it. He sleeps. The acceptance is a small door opening. Later, he offers a plate at a potluck. The giving returns as a gentler thing. The restoration is found in the balance between receiving and offering. Sleep becomes less guarded. The heart learns how to rest when both hands are full and when one is empty. These stories are simple. They do not deny pain. They do not make suffering into a tidy moral. They do show that small practices change the shape of nights. Ashur-dabit, kept steadily, rewires the body and the mind. The Bible I read to you often. Pictures change in that way. Seed planted. Water given. Time passing. The work is not spectacular. It is faithful. I tell these stories because they are accessible. They do not require grand virtue. They require repeated small things, a line on a paper, a short apology, a single verse read before bed, a jar filled with small truths. These acts accumulate. They form a new neighborhood of mercy inside a life. If you want to begin one of these practices, choose something very small, a single line to write at night, a short phrase to say before sleep, I leave this here, a pebble to place on a windowsill, and then set in the water the next day. The habit should be small enough to keep. The point is repetition, not perfection. I read a brief passage that echoes these stories. The cadence is slow. The phrases are kind. Let them rest with the stories you have heard. Do not analyze. Let them touch the place where your hands hold the day's weight. Imagine the acts in these tales as possible for you. Imagine the small rhythms entering your nights. As I close this part, I invite a final brief offering. Place a hand on the heart. Breathe slowly 3 times. On the first breath, name one small mercy from today. On the second, name one thing you will hand over for the night. On the third, imagine the companion of grace walking with you into sleep. Keep the motions small. The ritual is not a performance. It is a practice of trust. When sleep comes, let these stories travel with it. Let the small images be the things your mind rests on. If wakefulness returns, repeat the ritual. The habits of mercy are slow. They move by evening steps and morning returns. Tonight ends with purpose. I read the Bible for you before sleep. I offer ways to surrender. I speak of lives restored by steady habits of mercy. The next time I read, we will carry these practices further into the small hours. For now, rest. Let one small act be enough. Let mercy do its patient work. I stay a little while longer, listening to the room, until the breath tells me you are resting. Shalil. I sit with the Bible on my lap and listen as the small town breathes out. The night is soft. The porch lights drip gold across wet leaves. I tell a new story for tonight. It is about a place that learns to breathe together. The town is ordinary. People keep ordinary schedules. They work early and come home late. They shop at the same corner store. They pass one another in the lane. O'er time, weariness gathers. It is not a single calamity. It is many small frays. A widow grows kidder. A father takes on extra shifts. A child wakes often with worry in the belly. The strain settles into the streets like dust. Something shifts one autumn. A small group meets in the church basement not to argue or to plan reform, but to rest. A woman suggests a weekly hour simply to be still. They bring cushions. They make tea. They hang a small sign, an hour for the tired. No agenda. No list. The sign is humble. It is also contagious. I go and sit with them. I read a short passage slowly. The words do not tell them to do 1,000 things. They simply say that rest is a mercy. I notice faces soften, shoulders drop. There is no hurry to fix. Someone brings knitting. A neighbor brings biscuits. A man who mends shoes lends a bench. The hour becomes a place to set down burdens. The practice grows in small ways. The weekly hour becomes a vigil of sorts. People bring one small offering when they can bread. Scissors sharpened. Seedlings. The community begins to trade strength for rest. Those who can sit and listen do. Those who can cook do. Those who can fix pay a visit to a broken step. The give and take is steady and gentle. A garden is planted behind the hall. It is not large. It contains long rows of beans, a patch of herbs, and a single apple tree. Hands that worked at desks find soil beneath the nails. The rhythm of digging helps the mind. The harvest feeds a small shelf at the front door, where anyone may take a jar of soup. A young man who once feared asking for help now drops off extra greens. The action is practical and quietly sacred. I read to them about community in the quiet. I do not lecture. I tell the stories of neighbors sharing light. They nod. They know this truth already. They are glad to see it named. Their tiredness does not vanish, but it spaces out. The load becomes less concentrated on a single shoulder. There are shifts in small health markers too. The elderly woman who used to sleep with a clenched jaw now joins the evening hour once a week. She takes her medicine on time because a neighbor sets it by her plate. A child who woke with nightmares begins to sleep longer. Her father who balanced 2 jobs hands off 1 shift to a cousin for a season. None of these changes is dramatic. They are steady increments. Strength returns in practical ways. The bakery that had once closed its early hours reopens a few mornings a week, because 2 residents volunteer to sell bread after church. The mechanic who offered reduced rates gains a new helper who learns the trade. That helper, in turn, offers free bike repairs to the neighborhood children. The chain is tight and human. Each small act of generosity frees someone else to rest. I pay attention to how prayer moves in this gift economy. It does not become louder. It becomes simpler. People offer brief prayers in the kitchen over a pot of stew. They bless a loaf with a single sentence of thanks. In small groups, they pray for one another's sleep. The words are short. They sound like lullabies. The church bell that once rang only for services rings now for more modest reasons. It rings when a new roof is nearly finished. It rings on the morning when the community pantry opens a free shelf. The sound is not triumphal. It is a marker. It marks the creation of a small web of care. I notice something tender in the faces. There is less armor. People practice asking for help. They practice receiving without guilt. The habit is simple when you cannot carry a thing tonight. You put it on the table, and another hand lifts it a bit. The practice is not a moral calculus. It is a muscle grown by repetition. Children begin to learn different rhythms from their parents. Bedtimes become softer. Instead of screens kept late into the night, there is a song passed around on weeknights. Someone reads a short verse aloud. The children listen and learn that rest is shared. They carry that lesson into other parts of life. When a schoolmate needs notes, they offer them. When a classmate cries, they sit near. The tenderness spreads. Health clinics partner with the town in small ways. A nurse visits once a month to check blood pressure. She offers a brief talk about breath. The advice is simple. Slow the out-breath. The community tries it and finds small relief. People sleep more. A small decline in hospital visits follows. The town does not boom into health overnight, but the general pulse becomes steadier. Economically, the change is practical too, because people trade time and skill. Costs shrink. The elder who had needed help with the roof finds apprentices from the garden and the bakery. The family with a sick child receives a small fund raised by neighbors, who each give a little. The fund is not large. It is enough to cover a few urgent nights. The relief is not grand. It is decisive for those hours. Spiritually, I watch faith manifest as neighborly presence. It is not a sermon standing in the way. It is hands that pass soup, ears that hear, feet that bring wood. I read the scriptures in that light. I speak of mercy as a practice. The people understand this without debate. They see that renewal comes when mercy is daily and tangible. The community's renewed strength benefits everyone. A single act of rest becomes a ripple. The baker sleeps longer and bakes what the town needs. The mechanic rests and gains steadier hands. The cook who once burned out finds a second wind and opens a small free supper table on Mondays. The children sleep more and learn better. The widowed neighbor stops feeling invisible. Each small relief has a compound effect. There are losses still. Hard things remain, but people are less exhausted. They find reserves that were dulled by long weariness. Hope returns in modest measures. It appears in morning bread and in quiet porch conversations. The life that flows from the weekly hour is not spectacular. It is steady. It is enough. I leave that town with an image of lamps set at windows. I describe it softly to you. Each lamp is a small witness to the practice of rest. They do not shine to be seen. They shine to be used. The light is an invitation. Come in. Bring your tiredness. Set it down. Shiti. I close the book and breathe with you. The journey of these evenings draws into a quiet place. I do not hurry the end. I gather what has been said. We began with a simple invitation. Settle. Breathe. Let the lamp be low. The nights have moved through rest. A practice of prayer. Forgiveness. Grace. Receiving. Solitude. And community. Each night brought a small habit. Each habit is repeatable. Small steps matter more than grand plans. I read the Bible for you before sleep, because ancient words steady modern nights. I do not use them to argue. I let them be a hand on the shoulder. Each passage is chosen to ease the chest. Each sentence moves slowly. The rhythm is the work. The practices I share are small and tangible. A pebble placed. A note folded. A jar filled with small truth. A bench in a clearing. A weekly hour for the tired. None asks for perfection. All ask for repetition. Mercy grows by habit, not by spectacle. The themes repeat like a gentle chorus. Rest arrives by permission. Forgiveness arrives by practice. Grace is received when hands open. Community renews strength when neighbors trade time and care. Hope is modest and patient. It grows in steady increments. I invite you to choose one small habit from these nights. Keep it tender. Keep it simple. Make it short enough to be kept when the day is heavy. Begin with one breath. One line. One pebble. Repeat it. Let it build muscle. Do not demand instant change. Trust slow repair. If you are caring tonight for another, let the practices include a shared pause, 2 breaths together, a short verse read aloud, a hand laid lightly on a shoulder. The acts are not theatrical. They are practical worship. They show that faith is often a liturgy of small attentions. If sorrow sits with you, allow sorrow its place. The night can hold grief. We do not push it away. We name it gently and let mercy sit beside it. Tears are allowed. They are not failure. They are part of the night's honest work. If joy is present, let it spread slowly. Name one small blessing. Let gratitude be a short offering before sleep. Gratitude does not deny the hard. It keeps the heart open to small mercies. You have heard stories of ordinary restoration. A man who writes 1 line a night. A woman who lets stones drop into a river. A family that learns to both receive and give. A town that plants a garden and trades strength for rest. These are not models to emulate perfectly. They are invitations to try something that fits your life. I remain with you in these evenings because reading the Bible at bedside matters to me. The practice changes my own nights. It slows my voice. It softens my judgments. It teaches me how to be near another without an agenda. I keep the words simple. I read them like a neighbor reads a letter. Before I close tonight, breathe with me 3 times. Inhale slowly. Hold the breath a moment. Exhale long and gentle. On the last out-breath, offer one small sentence. Inwardly, I leave this here for now. Keep no long least. Keep one short motion of handing over. When sleep comes, let it carry these small practices into dream. When morning comes, take one simple step. Do not plan reforms. Do one small, kind action. Let that action be a tender experiment. The nights ahead will continue in the same spirit. We will read more gently. We will tell more small stories. We will practice small habits. The aim is not to change the world at once. The aim is to steady, one heart at a time. That steadiness spreads. I close the book softly. I dim the lamp a fraction. The hush is full of mercy that came in small things. Rest now. Let the breath slow. Let the hand on the heart remember the rhythm. I stay until the hush tells me you are resting. When you wake, carry one small mercy into the day. The work of rest continues. The Lord keeps watch. I sit with the Bible open. The lamp is very low. The room keeps a soft hush. My voice stays slow and steady. Tonight I offer a prayerful good night. I keep the words simple. I keep the sentences small. Settle more deeply. Feel the mattress hold you. Let the shoulders fall. Soften the jaw. Let the breath find its own slow rhythm. Breathe in. Count to 3. Breathe out. Count to 4. Repeat twice more. The pattern is a small anchor. I place my hand on the book. The cover is warm from my lap. The pages smell like paper and time. The book is a companion. It is a steady thing to hold beside a restless hour. I read it for you. I read it so your night has a script that is tender and sure. Think of one small thing to leave at the bedside. It need not be large. A single worry, a name, a decision for tomorrow. Say it in one short phrase in the mind. Place that phrase on the pillow like a small stone. Do not juggle it. Set it down. Let the night take it. I will pray now. The words are not long. They are not meant to settle every question. They are meant to be a bridge between this small present and the wider mercy that keeps watch. Speak them inwardly as you are able, or simply listen. Both ways are welcome. Loving God, you who know the shape of a human heart, come near. You see the sleepless parts. You know the places that ache. Take these small things I lay down now. Keep them safe in your hands. Do not make me prove myself to be worthy of rest. Teach me to receive without tallying merit. Let mercy have its place at the bedside. Give the gift of a single calm hour. Let worry soften for the night. Let the tightness at the ribs ease. Keep watch over dreams. Guard the sleep of those who are watching for dawn. Be near the ones who cope through the long hours. Be nearer still to those who have no one to speak their name. Aloud. Grant ta close quiet. Grant a steady hush. I ask for small courage in the morning. Give a single right step. Make a first move light and clear. If mending is needed, give one small way to begin. If forgiveness is to be practiced, help the hands loosen. If repairs are to be made, steady the fingers. Let the first motion tomorrow be simple and possible. Bless the ones listening who tend others tonight. Bless those who sit with a child awake. Bless those who keep vigil at a hospital room. Bless those who keep the lights on for work that never ends by 9. Give them rest between duties. Let mercy touch their eyelids. Keep them from running dry. For those whose grief sits heavy, hold that sorrow gently. Make a small place for tears. Let them fall without shame. Let tears be work that clears the way. Let the morning bring a softer edge to the ache. For those whose joy lights a corner of the room, let it grow quietly. Let gratitude multiply in small counts. Let thankfulness breathe through the chest. I trust you with the mistakes of the day. I do not cover them with pride or bury them in busyness. I lay them down. If repair is needed, show a clear first step. If an apology must be made, give words brief and true. If change is slow, make progress faithful. Teach patience in the heart. Grant a steady peace that is not merely the absence of trouble. Let it be a presence that stands close beside the chest. Let it be a kind of light that does not blind but reveals the right way to next move. When fear whispers that rest must be earned, let a softer voice reply that mercy comes before merit. Make the small rituals tonight count. If you fold one paper and place one worry into a box, let the act be honored. If you set a pebble by the lamp and name one thing to release, let that be enough. If you take one breath and say one simple line, help me rest, let the line be heard and kept. I ask that your presence be near to those who are lonely. Let a remembered kindness return like a neighbor's knock. Let a phone ping with a friend's brief care. Let someone be handed a cup of soup when their hands are too tired to cook. Where no one comes, be there yourself. In a felt way, take the place of the neighbor whose face is familiar only to the night. Bless the places of work and care. Bless the hands that mend and the hands that carry. Bless teachers and nurses and drivers and cooks. Bless those whose labor goes unnoticed. Make a small reward for them in sweet rest. Let the body receive repair, even when the world is slow to notice. For those who wrestle with doubt, do not let night sharpen the questions into accusations. Give rest to the doubting mind. Offer a small clearness, not to answer every mystery, but to ease the anxious turning of thought. Let truth come like a soft current rather than a harsh verdict. I pray also for the habit of mercy. Make it easy to receive and easier to pass on. Let the hands that take one kind thing be ready to give another. Teach the heart the arithmetic of small gifts. A loaf, a pot of soup, a hand on a shoulder, these add up. Let the practice of giving and receiving spread in slow, faithful circles. This is a prayer for gentleness. Teach the body how to accept gentleness. Teach the mind how to rest in a tender lullaby instead of a strict lecture. Let the voice that inhabits this room be kind to itself. Let the one who reads this find as much mercy as the ears that listen. Now breathe with me 3 slow times. Inhale, hold, exhale long. On each out-breath, imagine tension moving out through the mouth like a small ribbon. Watch it float away. Each breath is a brief surrender. Each one is a small offering placed on the bedside table of the night. I speak a blessing over you now. May your sleep be deep enough to gather strength. May your dreams be soft, not jarring. May your waking be met with one clear step. May mercy find you even in the quiet hours. May grace sit lightly on your shoulders. May peace keep your heart The lamp is low. The book rests. The room holds its steady hush. I will stay a little while longer. My voice will slow further. I will not hurry the night. If you sleep now, that is a gift. If you do not, carry the prayer quietly. Return to the breath. Place your hand on your chest. Feel the heartbeat. Let the rhythm be a small reminder that you are held. When the first light arrives, this voice will be glad to read again. I will come with gentle words and small practices. We will return to the simple acts, the pebble, the folded note, the soft line of prayer. We will keep the habit of mercy. We will practice rest. For now, let the good night be simple. Lay down the day. Set the mind in a small harbor. Allow the sails to slack. Let the tide of sleep carry what it will. Keep one sentence in the ear: you are not alone. Mercy is near. Grace is present. Peace keeps watch. Good night. I will remain near until your breathing tells me you are resting. The lamp stays on a thin glow. The Bible rests at my side. The hush keeps all that was spoken. Sleep now in the company of steady mercy. I go with you in the quiet, and I will read again when morning comes. I sit with the Bible in my lap one last time for tonight. The lamp is low. My voice is a quiet thread. I have read the pages for you. I have kept them simple. I have kept them slow. Breathe with me now. Inhale slowly. Count to 3. Pause. Exhale long and even. Do this again. Let the rhythm be the small work of the hour. Let the breathing remind the body that the night is a time for gentleness. Tonight we gather what has been learned. The stories we told are small. They show mercy at a doorstep. Stones released into a river. Jars filled with honest lines. No grand feats are required. Small, steady acts are enough. They steady a life. They steady a town. They steady the hand that reaches across a table. Remember the little practices. Place a pebble on a windowsill to mark a worry. Fold a note and set it in a box. Read a single verse, slowly, and let it sit. Sit in a chair and press the thumb into the palm to feel a simple blessing. These motions are small and human. They teach the muscles of trust. I read the Bible for you to be a companion at the bedside. The old words are not puzzles to solve tonight. They are a friend's voice. They are a lamp placed at the foot of the bed. The passages I choose point toward shelter and rest. They name mercy near at hand. They ask only that the heart be willing to receive. Let the room be simple. Set one small light. Put the phone in another place. Keep the senses quiet. Let the familiar items you choose become part of the ritual. A cup, a blanket, the Bible itself. These things tell the nervous system that the day is over and rest may begin. If sorrow sits with you, do not hurry it. Name the ache with one soft word. Place it like a stone on the table in the quiet room of the mind. Do not force forgiveness like a garment that does not fit. Practice the small release. Hand one worry over at a time. Let mercy do the rest in its own measure. If joy is present, let it spread slowly. Say one simple thank you. Let gratitude rest like a warm tile at the heart. It does not need to be loud. It only needs to be true. Remember your strength. Strength is not only what you do, it is also what you receive. Faith gives a steady place to stand. The community gives hands to lift when shoulders are tired. You are not meant to carry everything alone. Neighbors, friends, and small acts of kindness form a chain. Each link matters. Each link is real. Turn inward for a moment. Place a hand over the chest. Feel the small lift beneath the palm. The beat is a sign. The breath is a measure. Strength can begin there. It begins with a steady breath. It begins with a decision to take one small step tomorrow. It begins with the habit of asking for help when the hands are full. When fear rises, name one small action for the morning. Do not try to solve everything at once. Choose one possible step. Make it tiny. The mind likes tasks. It can finish. Completing one small thing loosens the knot of many things. Community is not only other people. It is practiced care. It is the weekly hour for the tired we imagine. It is the garden that feeds a front step of soup. It is a neighbor who brings biscuits without asking for thanks. These are not big rescues. They are the daily arithmetic of mercy. They build rest where exhaustion once ruled. I will read one brief passage now, not to show off wisdom, but to make a soft anchor. The passage speaks to being led beside still waters and to being given rest. Hear it not as doctrine, but as comfort. Let the image of quiet water sit under the ribs. Let it steady the breath. Keep the images small and close. Imagine a bench beneath a tree. Imagine a warm lamp on a table by your bed. Imagine a hand that rests without questions. These are the metaphors of mercy. They are the places where sleep can come without compulsion. Pray with me. Softly. If you wish, speak the words inwardly. If words seem hard, breath the intention. If prayer is new, a single line suffices. Merciful God, you who keep watch, be near tonight. Hold the weary in your arms. Watch over those who cannot sleep. Protect those who keep vigil for another. Give gentle rest to the body. Give soft repair to the heart. Let your peace sit like a quiet lamp at the bedside. Breathe steadiness into fragile breaths. Make the coming morning kindly. Help small acts become habit. Teach hands how to receive and to give. Bind us in a community that lifts when one falters. Grant courage for one step tomorrow. Soften the charge of shame. Free the heart to accept mercy. In this hush, let hope be possible again. Amen. Rest in that prayer for a moment. Let the sentences land like feathers. Feel how small things can carry weight. You are stronger than you sometimes know. Strength grows in tiny habits. The morning prayers, the folded notes, the neighbor's bowl of soup. Faith and community stitch a life together, stitch by small stitch. Trust those stitches. They hold. If waking comes tonight, return to one short phrase. Make it simple. Let it be something like I am held. Repeat it with the out-breath. Do not argue with any thought. Watch it like a leaf on a pond. Let it pass. Before the lamp goes very low, Choose one small kindness for the morning, a note to a friend, a walk at noon, a call of check-in. Keep the act doable. The promise of doing one small thing will ease the night. I will stay until the breath settles. My hand closes the book slowly. The pages are warm from the reading. The light is dim. The hush sits like a blanket over the room. Sleep, when it comes, is not a final answer. It is a gift. It is part of the working of mercy. Let it do its quiet mending. When the morning arrives, take one small, ordinary step. Let that step be your prayer in action. This ends on purpose. The evening has taught small motions of mercy. It has shown simple habits that make rest possible. It has reminded that faith and community strengthen even the weakest hour. Good night. Receive the blessing I place beside the ear. May the night be full of peaceful rest under God's watchful care. May strength return in small measures. May faith steady the heart. May community lift the hands. May sleep come as a tide and hold you through the hush. I remain near until the breath tells me you are resting. The lamp will be low. The Bible will be closed. The room will hold what was said. Sleep now. You are not alone. Mercy keeps watch.